So everybody, welcome to today's video. Obviously, we're going to be taking over AS Roma. I always remember Roma when I was growing up just being a team that were always in and around, like fighting against the big teams. They were always in the Champions League. Obviously, they've never had a spell of like dominance. They haven't actually won the league as many times as you would think, because if you go in and go to their history and go to Serie A titles, they've only ever won 3. I honestly believed that Roma had won the league more than 3 times. 1942, 1983, and 2001. But like you always felt that they've always been around. They've always been, like I said, fighting against the bigger teams. Obviously, the other teams have had a lot more money. They've stayed in the Champions League for longer, so they've got better teams. Roma's kind of fell off a little bit, but they have won 9 Italian Cups. They've won a Europa League, obviously never won the Champions League and stuff, so we do plan on trying to fix that, because if you do go into the league, as you can see, if you scroll down the top of the screen, it's been a while, boys, since we won the league. But like I said, they're a club who has a very, very good reputation. As you can see, 4-star reputation, 4.5-star training facilities, 4.5-star youth facilities, and 4-star recruitment. One thing they do have is a little bit of debt. 276 million. So we're hoping to be able to clear that. We have 30 million overall. We have 8.57 million in the transfer kitty, but they do have some very, very good players. Obviously, one of the best players in their team is going to be Artem Dubrovnik. He is very, very good, big, physical, really, really quick, 6'2". So he's going to score a few goals for us. And then, of course, they do have people like Paulo Dybala, very, very technical, a little injury prone, still only 30 years old. He's been around for so long. And then young players, of course, like Tomasi Baldanzi, look, only 21 years old. He's Italian, so going to help with registration. One that has a decent amount of potential. We also have players like Manu Kune, who I'm a huge fan of in real life and in this iteration of Football Manager. He is very, very good all round, still only 23. He has a confirmed future transfer coming to us next season because he's currently in on loan. Another one that's also very, very good is a Brian Cristante. A little slow, but like once again, 6'2", very, very physical, can play with both feet, good mentality, and he's phenomenal in the air. We do have in on loan young Lucas Gorna-Duath. Don't know if that's how you fully pronounce his name. He's one I would like to bring in full time. He has a ton of potential. He's only 20 years old, 6'1". Play fantastic at both feet, good mentality, super consistent. Like I said, he's in on loan from Salzburg, but he does have a 6 million optional fee, so this is something I would like to activate, because if I have 3 big players in the middle of the park, you know my love for big physical players, so he's one that could add to that. We do have a couple of good centre backs. One of them is Evan Ndiki, very, very good, only 24 years old, 6'4", physical stats are absolutely insane. Once again, get a very, very good mentality, enjoys the big games, super consistent. Gianluca Mancini, another one, look, he's pretty decent, 28 years old, look, not the fastest player in the world and not the most physical, but like 6'3", pretty decent player. Of course, we do have Mats Hummels. I think they got him on a free, didn't they? I think, as far as I know, hold on, Borussia Dortmund bought him for 27 million. God damn, that was so long ago. Anyway, look, good player in real life, but like he's 35. He's 9 acceleration, 9 agility, and he's only got like 11 or 12 pace. As you can see over here, his physical stats. If I was going to play 3 centre backs, I would play him in the middle. But I don't plan to play 3 centre backs. So Hummels is one that's probably not going to get a lot of football, probably going to get annoyed. Look, if I can offload him in January and get, if we could get anything over like 15-20 million, I'd be very, very happy. Obviously, we're not going to get 52 to 53 or 42 to 53 million unless the Saudi League comes in. But on all, like I said, if you go to tactic, this is something I kind of want to go with regards. I think this just suits this team. So it's going to be Angelino. Look, left back, he's pretty decent. He's okay. We do have other options, but a few of them are currently out on loan. And then Galini, another keeper. He's okay. One I would like to kind of replace at some point. But like I said, we don't have a ton of cash. I think our main priority is I kind of want someone a little better to play in beside Ndiki. I think we just need a wee bit of a better centre back. At the back line, I'm reasonably happy with. Like I said, we do have a few players in there. Tommy Abraham is one that's in the squad, but he's currently out on loan. If I could bring him back in January, I definitely would. We also have Nikola Zawalski, another one I would like to bring back. I would put him in either left or right back. He's only 22, fantastic at both feet. He can play down both sides of the park. So unfortunately, he's out on loan, which is a little bit silly. And then, of course, Bove, another one that's out on loan who I would definitely be playing, but like unfortunately, but I think our starting lineup is very, very good. So Galini, Angelino, Ndiki, And then we've got this guy playing it right back. I'm just going to call him Saud because I don't know how to pronounce his second name and I just don't want to sit here all day trying to fuck it up. But like, he's okay, 24 years old, pretty decent. But like I said, if we had Zawalski, I'd probably play Zawalski in there instead of him. And then like I said, the wee kid that's in on loan, going to play him in the DM because I think Kone's a wee bit better going forward than he is. And then Kristen in beside him, Baldanzi, Dybala and Dubrovrak. Like I said, I think centre back is going to be our priority. I think we need a better keeper at some point, but like I said, we don't have the money to just strip the team, and there's nobody really in the squad that's massively worth a ton of money. That there is a few, but like I don't want to sell them, if that makes sense. Like Dubrovrak and Dybala, fantastic. Kone, definitely don't want to sell. Bandanzi, don't want to sell because they're like the future of the team. Obviously, Dybala is not the future of the team. He's gonna leave at some point. But I think I don't want to get rid of any of the younger players in the squad. I think there's a couple players in here. We also have Wrench, the young Ajax player. He's another one that can play in the middle of the park. I don't know how good he is in this version of FM. I've only got the chance to play him once. In my Ajax save, he wasn't fantastic, but I am on an updated database. So he may be a little better in this. We'll just keep an eye on him, kind of see how he gets on. But I think centre-back wise, I think that's going to be our main priority. We need to bring someone in there. And then obviously another thing we are going to need to do is update the staff. I'm not too sure what the head of youth development's like. 20, 13 and 13, so he's going to need to be upgraded. Coaches, they're very, very bad. What do we got? We got a fitness coach. He's only got 14 fitness. What about our goalkeeping coach? Not great. Like, it's 7, 6 and 7. Like, this is something we're gonna need to upgrade. We need higher quality staff members. So I always show this in every video because everybody always asks me anytime I don't show this how I go about getting the really, really good regen staff. So this is pretty simple. All you're gonna do is, first things, you're gonna go to coaching attributes up here on the top of the screen. You're gonna go the whole way over to the right to the TCO, which is tactical coaching. You're gonna hit that and make sure the highest number is at the top. Obviously, if you're playing at a smaller team, you're not going to have anybody at 20, so just kind of sort of look at that. Then the next thing, I'm going to look at attacking and defense, and I just find someone, this guy here, I keep needing to scroll down because of my camera. So he's got 19 and 20 for attacking. He's ahead of youth development. That's the key thing. You're going to be looking for people that are ahead of youth development. You're going to click on him. As you can see, regen staff member. He is actually ridiculous. I actually might make him my assistant manager, I'm not going to lie, instead of a coach, because he's so good. Right, he wants a wee bit more cash. I'm happy enough with that. Same thing again, I just scroll down. As you can see, there's another one here, 17 attacking, 17 defending, head of youth development. Michael Keller, another one, absolutely fantastic. He's happy to be a coach, and that's all I do. I just rinse and repeat this. I just scroll down. Obviously, the bigger team you are, the easier this is going to be to get staff. There's another one, regen staff. I know a lot of people don't want to use the regen staff, and that's perfectly fine. The great thing about Football Manager, you can play the fucking game however you want, and don't let anybody tell you how to play it, right? So this is another one. I don't look. My theory is I'm here to win, so I'm going to get the best of the best, and that's it. We're here to win, boys. So another one, Brian Klug, he's actually a real person. Another one that's an actually fan. He's a fantastic assistant manager. He actually wants to be the assistant manager for the under 18s. I would actually like him as a coach. There we go. So there we go. We've got 4 coaches in the space of like 30 seconds. It's pretty simple, like I said, and this is all I do, just rinse and repeat this. Obviously, with regards to the fitness coaches and the goalkeeping coaches, there's no real strategies. You just go goalkeeping, go to the top one. Yep, he looks pretty decent. We'll sign him. And then, boys, there we go. Got new coaches. So I'm going to go get rid of all the coaches of the club, bring some new stuff in, and then we'll go and see if we can do some transfer business. So, like I said, obviously with us not having a ton of cash and not really a lot of sellable assets, like I said, there's people in the team that are worth a lot of cash, but I don't want to sell them. I've brought in young Nathan Zizi. This is one obviously for the future, and I am going to lock him into play. Look, he's got a ton of potential. He's still only 19 years old. 6'3", big physical dude, has a good mentality, super consistent, has a lot of potential. And like I said, we paid a total of 8 million for him, which I think is an absolute steal. We will get a good centre back out of him. So like I said, this is going to be the team going into the first season. Galini, Angelino, Zizi, and Ndiki, these two beside each other, I think will do pretty well. Obviously, Zizi is going to need a little time. He's going to need a couple of seasons. And then, yeah, that guy at right back, I'm not going to try and pronounce. And then Doa in centre with Kristen and this is a very big physical midfield. 6'2", 6'3", I think he's 6'2" as well. So like I said, big physical midfield. Baldanzi, Dybala, and Dubrovrak up top. This is a team, I think, look, can we win the league? I don't know. The league is just, it's very, very good. Where are we meant to finish is going to be the interesting thing. Our media prediction is going to be finishing in 5th. which is just outside of Champions League football. But you've also got to remember, Atalanta have a good team, Inter have a good team, AC Milan have a good team, Fiorentina's in and around there, Juventus have some good players. I wouldn't say they're an amazing team. Napoli obviously got a good squad. So yeah, finishing fifth it could be a little rough. I would like to finish in the top six. I think we need to get some European football. Obviously, winning the league in the first year would be fantastic, but I don't know if we've got the team to push it in the first couple of seasons. We're gonna need to improve the team a little bit. I think we're pretty close to there. Like I said, keeper, I would like to replace at some point. Nathan Zizi is gonna need time, and then Doa, I would love to bring in. We're probably gonna have to spend for next year's transfer budget. It's like 6 million to bring him in. Obviously, we're gonna need to replace Diabala at some point. Cristante he's only 29, so we'll probably get a couple of seasons out of him. He's got good natural fitness and good stamina, so should be okay there. And like I said, Ndiki is still very, very young. There is a few players, like I said, in the squad that will be coming back, ones that are on loan. Bove, honestly, if Bove comes back, if we can get him back in January, I'm going to train him to be a right back. I think he's got everything to be a really, really good right back, and then I'll just play, where is he? I can't even find him. Zawalski will probably play on the left-hand side, and then Bove on the right. That beefs up our defense really, really good. And on top of that, they're really, really good at going forward as well. But like I said, boys, this is going to be the team for season one. I'm excited for this. I think, like I said, finish in the top six would be fantastic for the European football. I think 5 to 7 is realistic. So that's what we're going to aim for. Obviously, I'll bring you back in January if there's anybody we want to sign on the approach of signs. And then we do have 4-star youth recruitment. So in April, hopefully we get ourselves a good youth recruitment, and I'll bring you back then. But boys, that's enough messed about. Let's go play season 1. So boys, we've made it to January. We do have a few casualty of war because we are playing pretty well. So the first person we lost is Big Brian Cristante. This is one I'm actually sad because I didn't want to lose. At least we get decent money for him, which is a good thing. Look, he's big, strong, physical, can play with both feet. He's Italian. He's got a good mentality, super consistent. He works hard. He's amazing in the air. But unfortunately, Liverpool came knocking. They give us a total of 28 million, which all in all, look, is pretty good money for a player. Look, he's going to be 30 this year. So like at some point, we're going to have to sell him because his physical stats are going to go downhill. But even if we didn't want to sell him, it's Liverpool, they're in the Premiership, we probably wouldn't be able to fight them off anyway. But look, 28 million, pretty good deal. And the next one out the door was Selic. He went to Arsenal. Look, honestly, we didn't get a ton of money for him. He's not really worth a lot. As you can see, even at Arsenal, he's only worth like less than $500,000 to 5.2. So we got a total of 3 million for him, which means between that money and the money we got for the big Cristante, that gives us 31 million to play with. Also, when we hit January, the board give us 35 million in transfer revenue. So on top of selling the players and the money that the board give us, we were looking pretty good. So I needed to replace someone in the center of the park. So I was looking big, strong, physical, you know how I want it. So I brought in Giovanni Fabian. He's one of my favorite players in FM. In this FM, he's really, really good. If you're looking a big, strong, physical player to go forward in your team, you get him like super cheap as well. Here's the thing, 22 years old, he's Italian, which is going to help us with registration. Good in the air, good attacking, 6'3", can play with both feet, got an amazing mentality, he really enjoys the big games, super consistent, and we got him for a total of 15 million. So we sold our other midfielder on for 28, brought him in for 14. So basically we got a midfielder that has the potential to be better than the one that we sold for half the price. Then the big money one I brought in was Miguel Gutierrez. I was just looking at the list of people that were interested in signing for us, and I was like, hold on, Gutierrez, but I was kind of worried because Man City were interested in him, Juventus, Real Madrid, there was a couple of other big teams as well. I put in for him, he has a £30 million release clause. Yeah, nobody else offered for him, so we ended up getting Miguel Gutierrez for 30 million. Look, this is a fantastic signing because he's only fucking 23 and he becomes one of the best left backs in the game, and we've got him in our team. The rest of the money I've decided to just keep. There's nobody I'm really massively interested in. I did bring in a few players in on approach of signs. Before we do that, I did also confirm the signing of Duath. Remember, he is in on loan. He has a 6 million optional fee, so I activated that and brought him in for the year. Look, even if he doesn't become our first starting like midfielder, look, he's a very, very good player all round, good squad player, and for 6 million, it's pretty good. So one of the ones I have confirmed on an approach to sign is Eddie Salcido. Look, he's free, he's 23 years old, he's Italian, he can play all across the front line. and he's still very, very young. And like I said, when you get players for nothing, this is going to really, really help out with squad depth. That is one thing we are kind of lacking a little bit, especially up front, with us having people like Tommy Abraham and stuff out on loan, who I can't bring back. The same with Bove. I wish I could just cancel their loans and bring them back. This would make things a lot easier. But he's in, like I said, 23 years old, Italian, free, gonna help with squad depth. And probably one of the funniest signings as, we've got Szczesny from Barcelona on a free. I was looking for a keeper. Look, obviously he's 34 years old, but look, keepers can play for a long time in this game, and like, he is world class. And we got him for nothing. He's also got 18 leadership, which is one thing I think we're kind of lacking a wee bit in our team, was we don't have an out and out leader. So bringing him in solves our keeper issue. We didn't spend any money, and he could be a future captain. So boys, we're at the end of the season. Our youth intake wasn't great. So obviously with us losing a few players in January, we were lucky it wasn't anybody massive. We were lucky because Newcastle come in for Diabala. They offered us 15 million. He wanted to go, but then he also rejected the contract. So we still have Diabala. He's a player I don't want to lose. He's got the experience in the team. Technically and mentally, he's absolutely fucking fantastic. So I would like to try and hold on to him for a bit, because I think people like Baldanzi and stuff are not ready to just be in the first team just yet. But my goal, like I said, was to sort of stay in Europe. I would like to be in that top sort of like 6 teams. I think we have the potential to be very, very good. We just need a few wee tweaks here and there. But let's jump over, see how we did in the league. So we started things off in the league with a fantastic 2-1 win over Juventus. We then drew 2-each away to Inter, which I think is a fantastic result considering the team that they've got. Then we had another very hard fought game at the San Siro. We could beat 3-2 by AC Milan, but I think once again, it's shown that we do have potential. We then also beat Lazio 5-3. We then smashed Juventus 3-0, which meant after all those results, we fucking did it, boys. Look, I'm not going to lie, yous know. Look, I'm an eternal optimist. I'm the same way in real life as the way I am in FM. I enjoy the small things in life. I try to be as optimistic as possible, but like, I didn't think we were going to win the league. Obviously, we have a bunch of really good players. Like Dubravrak seems like he had a fantastic season. He's exactly what I want on a striker. Big, strong, physical. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think we were going to win the league. And we won the league by a pretty good margin. You can see we played 38 games. We had 30 wins. 3 draws. We had 5 losses. Atalanta, AC Milan. Atalanta beat us twice, which it is what it is. Lazio and Napoli. So those 5 teams, there are games that can kind of go anyway. And like only one of those games we get absolutely smashed by Napoli 3-0. The rest of them 2-1, 4-3, 3-2, 1-0. So like they were pretty hard fought games. We had 76 goal difference. We finished on 93 points. The closest team to us was AC Milan with 80. Also, Inter had a terrible season. Juventus had a terrible season. So on top of us just playing really, really well, the teams around us just didn't play great. I would also like to take a minute to shout out the big GYR. He's the man. If you need tactics, please go and check out GYR's channel. The man, there's a tactic for everything, no matter what you want, and this tactic is fucking unreal. Then jumping over into the player stats, like I said, big Artem Dubravrak did amazing. 29, he's ahead of Tommy Abraham and Pavaletti, don't know who he is. And then we also have Dubravrak in there for average ratings. We have Angelino in there for assists. And then we also have our keeper in there for clean sheets. So all in all, look, we played pretty well all round. And this is a pretty beefy league. Like there's a lot of really, really good strikers and good keepers in this league. So team stats, if we got most points per game was us 2.45. We're pretty decently ahead of AC Milan. We scored 116 goals, which is absolutely fantastic. The closest team to us, AC Milan, scored 97, and then there's a wee bit of a drop-off. This is the weirdest one. The fact that Inter only scored 69 goals, obviously a fantastic number, but with the firepower that they have in their team, like I said, not a great season for them. Most shots for Roma, we were 200 ahead of anybody else. A few shots against, we're in there in second. I'm very, very happy with that. Most clean sheets, we are top of the clean sheets, and then fewest conceded. We conceded 40, but we scored 116. And then the thing you also have to remember is we're playing Nathan Zizi as a very young, inexperienced centre back. So say we had another good, experienced centre back, you could probably knock off, I don't know, 5 to 10 goals out of that, and then we'd be down in like the 30 to 35 mark, so we'd be in the top 3. So with playing a very, very inexperienced centre back, I'm very, very happy with this. I'm actually like, I'm not like over exaggerating things for the video. I didn't think we were gonna win the fucking league in the first season, but I'm pretty fucking happy we did, because this looks really good over here. Like I said, if you scroll down, Roma have not won this in a long time, so the fact that we can bring back a wee bit of respect to Roma's name in the first season, I'm pretty happy. Let's see how we did in the cup. So boys, our cup run was vast. Yeah, we went out in the 3rd round. We get beat 2-0 by Napoli. Look, getting Napoli in the fucking third round of the cup is just stupid. But like I said, we probably should have put in a wee bit of a better performance. But look, we won the league. I would like us to do a wee bit better in the cup next year. So that then takes us over to the Europa League. We started off in Group G. We started off with a nice, fantastic 3-1 win over Ludogorets. We also had a man sent off in the 6th minute. Our next match, we also got a nice 2-1 win over LASK. I don't know who their actual name is. If anybody knows, leave in the comments down below. They made a nice 4-1 win over Celje. I think that's how you pronounce their name. Then in the return leg, we beat them 2-0. In a nice 4-1 win against Ludogorets. Then in our final league phase match, we ended up beating LASK 4-0. So that is 6 games. 6 wins. If you go to the group, look, we did absolutely fantastic. Qualified, we didn't draw or lose a game. 19 goal difference, only conceded 4, which is fantastic, and a 15 goal difference and 18 points. So that then took us to the round of 16 where we faced off against Man United. They started off the scoring through Delit. We hit back 10 minutes later through Gutierrez. And in the 53rd minute, they got another goal to beat us 2-1 on the night. But all in all, a pretty good performance against a good Man United team. Then unfortunately, in the second leg, we had a 0-0 draw. We also had a man sent off. It was in the 86th minute, so it didn't make too much. But like getting beat 2-1 by Man United, look, I would have liked to go through and get a little... This would have been a fantastic final. But like we get them in the round of the 16, and they have a very, very good team in this. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I'm also a little upsetty spaghetti, because I felt like this was a competition we could have won, but like, it is what it is. I'm still upset. So then moving over into the player performances, our keeper, Galini, 35 games, 30 conceded, but 19 clean sheets. It's pretty solid. Of course, young Jason Zizi, I did lock him in for the season to make sure he got a ton of football. Played 43 games, 3 goals and 3 assists, and he is improving. This is only after 1 season, so I would say in a couple seasons, we get a very, very good player in our hands. And we didn't pay that much money for him. Of course, the big man, Evan Ndiki, played 42 games, 9 goals, 5 assists. Who wants him? Real Madrid. Boys, I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to hold on to him. There was a lot of people after him in January. I was lucky enough, it was Newcastle and like Aston Villa, and like whenever they offered money, I said no. He didn't say anything. But if Real Madrid come in, look, I'm not going to lie, if we get 52 to 64 million for him, look, he's going to go to Real Madrid. If they offer, he's going to get upset. Let's be honest, it's Real Madrid against Roma. If we can get, I got 60 million for him, it'd be annoying to lose, but like 60 million is a lot of cash. Then, of course, Big Gutierrez only came in January, played 16 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. Assistant manager seemed to favour Wrench a wee bit more at right back than he did anybody else. So 37 games played, 1 goal, 11 assists. All in all, look, a pretty good season. And he's a player that can play in a ton of positions. He's very good at both feet, and he's happy to be a squad player. So look, if we can keep him in the squad, I think this is a really, really good player to just have around to play anywhere in the back line. Don't know how good he'd be at centre back, because like his heading's horrendous, but like left back, right back, he can play in the centre of the park as well. And of course, young Lucas playing in the middle played 39 games, 4 goals, 3 assists. And then, like I said, I did confirm the signing of him for 6 million, so he will be our player next season. Young Fabian, 19 games started because he only came in January, 7 goals and 1 assist, so 8 goal involvements, all in all pretty solid. And of course, big Mano Kune, a player that I expected to have a wee bit of a good season because he is very, very good all around. Played 45 games, 17 goals from the centre of the park and 9 assists. It's wild that he's only worth just less than 19 million. It's insane. Look how good he is. If he was in the Premiership, you're talking easily 50 to 60 million for him. Of course, Diabala, who strangely didn't start every game, 21 appearances started, 20 off the bench, 17 goals and 11 assists, so 27 goal involvements, all in all pretty good. Look, if Diabala was a wee bit younger and his natural fitness and stamina was a little bit better, I would like to keep him around, but he's one, I'm not going to lie, I may move on in the summer. I know he's fucking fantastic, but like we're playing with 2 inside forwards. He's not physically good enough to play in the middle of the park for us. He's very, very injury prone, and he's going to be 32 this year, and he's also on £135,000 a week. So this is one we may look to move on next year. I'm not fully decided yet, but we'll jump that bridge in the summer. Then on the right hand side is our other inside forward. The assistant manager seemed to play as Sule quite a lot, and that's understandable why. 36 games played, 11 goals, 4 assists, and over 7 written. Look, got the potential to be very, very good. He's already amazing. Good crossing, good dribbling, good finishing, good first touch. He's left-footed. Would like to work on his weaker foot, but he's close to his full potential, so don't want to basically mess with any stats. But he's got a good mentality. He's also super consistent. He's very explosive, and he's still only 22. Of course, the big unit up top, Dubrovrak, played 46 games, 34 goals, 7 assists, and a 7.4 for the season. So all in all, you know what I mean? He played pretty good, 41 goal involvements in 46 games. Not bad. I do think this team has some serious potential. I really, really do. Obviously, if you're looking at the team for next year, keeper is going to be different. Wrench is going to be different because I do want to play Bove in at right back. I think him and Gutierrez could be absolutely disgusting. The midfield is going to stay the same. Like I said, Diabala, this may change, and I may start playing Baldanzi in here because we have a young player who has the potential to be very, very good. I'm just looking around. Obviously, Szczesny is going to be our keeper next year. That was a fantastic one. I think to get him on a free and not on crazy wages is really, really good. Obviously, I would like to bring in a younger keeper for down the line, but we'll worry about that at some point. I don't even know how much money we got. We also have Tommy Abraham coming back, which means we're going to have a wee bit of competition for Dubrovrak. It means we're going to have 2 strikers. Like I said, we also have Zawalski coming back, so he's going to provide cover for either Gutierrez or Bove. So I may have to lock Bove in because obviously he's not a traditional sort of fullback. He's a midfielder, and if I just let the assistant manager do it, he's not going to play here, but I would like him to be in here. I think the Gutierrez and Bove on each side is just going to be disgusting, and Szczesny in there. All in all, boys, I think a very, very good season. Won the league. Look, we went out in the 3rd round of the cup and we made it to the round of 16 in the Europa League. The Europa League's the one I'm just probably the most disappointed about. I would have liked to try and sort of make it to at least like semis or make it to the final, but unfortunately we got Man United, and look, it is what it is. I don't know how much money the board has given us. 3.8 million. Boys, I think we may have to sell some people, but let's jump over into season 2. So boys, then moving over into season 2, we did have a few players go out the door, but it was ones we kind of knew that were going to leave. The first one we kind of already knew about was going to be Evan Ndiki. Real Madrid did come in an offer for him. We got some decent money. Look, it's a player I didn't want to lose because he is actually a fantastic centre back, and he's still only 26 years old, but we got 47 million for him all up front. I tried to wrangle a little deal, like 30 million up front, and then like 15 and 20 in like installments. They were having none of it. They just wanted the 47 million up front. Look, he was started at what, like 50 to 60 million. We got 47 and a half up front. We weren't going to get a better deal than that. He wanted to leave because it's Real Madrid. But look, it's good cash up front. On top of that, we also lost Matthias Sule. This is one obviously I didn't want to lose, but Man City came in for him. It's crazy. They bought him. You'll see how much for. They bought him for 40 million up front, working its way up to 50 million, and yeah, then put him on the loan list. We should have asked, could we loan him back for a season? But all in all, look, a pretty good deal. 50 million in total for him, 47.5 million for Nkiti. So like nearly 100 million in revenue in 2 players. We did also then lose Tani Abraham because he wanted to go to Newcastle. I wanted to keep him and have him and Big Artam as the busy or 2 strikers, just interchanging, but he wanted to go to a Premier League team, which I don't understand. Newcastle, they have Alexander Isak, so he's not going to be the starting striker. But look, we got decent money for a player that, look, wasn't really overly playing. 30 million, working its way up to 40, so like that's nearly 140 million for 3 players already in one transfer window. And Big Pellegrini went out the door as well. He wanted to go to AC Milan, even though we just won the league, but sure, whatever. 21.5 million, working its way up to 23.5 million, so that's like nearly 160 million already. Then we also lost Wrench. He wanted to go to Newcastle, but look, this is one I wasn't too sure where we're actually gonna play him, so I was okay with this one. Look, they come in and offered us 15 million up front, working its way up to 20 million, so that's like what, nearly 175 million now. Well boys, it doesn't stop there. We also lost Diabala over to AC Milan. This is one I actually didn't notice. So he had a release clause of 10.2 million, but look, this is one I said, look, I wanted to kind of sort of try and get out the door. It's not that he's not a great player. He's injury prone. His physical stats are starting to degrade really, really fast because he has low natural fitness and low stamina. And my tactic is a very hard pressing tactic. So like he just doesn't have the stamina for it. That's why he didn't play a ton of games last year between injuries and fatigue. So AC Milan come in and acted as release clause. So that's what, like 180 million already in this transfer window. So obviously you already know about the Szczesny deal coming in. We got him on an approach to sign. Salcedo is also here, the other one that we got on an approach to sign. I then did also go to Bayern and steal this young guy. Look, in this database, this guy is rated very, very well. It is Ljubo Pulisic. Don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyway, look, we didn't have to pay a ton of money for him, a total of 2 million. I am currently in the process of loaning him out. He is meant to be a very, very good centre back, but he needs a couple of years of like first team football. As you can see, he's playing at a 1.5 star. Look, if he gets a 3.5 star, if he gets another like 1.5 2 stars better than this, he's gonna be phenomenal. He's also 6'2" and he's left footed, which is pretty hard to find. So then I also went and loaned in this little guy, Francisco Camarda, another one in this database. It is absolutely fantastic. For anybody wanting to know the link to the database, the tactic I'm currently using, the corner routine and the save file will all be in the pinned comments whenever this video goes live, so you can just go and pick everything up and play for yourself. Like say, go and show GYR, the guy that made this tactic, some love. Look, absolutely fantastic. But look, this kid has a ton of potential, and in this database is phenomenal. But I was only able to loan him in for the season. As you can see, he does have an optional fee for 22.5 million, but he's French, 17 years old. Amazing consistency, really, really good mentality, 15 dribbling, 16 finishing, 14 first touch. His heading is fucking 15, but he's got a jump and reach of 5, so he's not going to jump anybody, but if the ball lands at his head, he will be able to head it. Good technique, mental stats will come along with time, same way as physical stats. I want to try and get him in the door. We'll find out in January. By the time January hits, if I'm playing him every game, if he wants to come and sign for us. If not, then we just move on and we get somebody else. But he's one I would like to try and get into the team. Look, we're already Italian champions. If we could win the title this year again, look, I know it's going to be a hard feat. We could try and convince him to come to us. This is one I do want to get in the door at some point, but it's just going to be whether or not he wants to sign for us and leave AC Milan. So then another one I brought in, this is going to be more sort of for squad depth. This is very sort of Fabian-esque. It is Cesar Casadilla. We paid absolutely nothing for him. We paid a total of 7.2 million. This is a kid, I was going to say, I remember him playing for Chelsea. He played for Inter, went to Chelsea, loaned him out for a couple of seasons, didn't really get going. But this is more for squad depth. Look, we didn't pay much for him. He's Italian, going to help us with registration. Obviously, with us losing a few Italian players, we were going to need to bring some in to help us with registration, because it is one thing you do need to watch in the Italian league. But he's 6'1", really, really good all round, fantastic mentality, enjoys the big games, super consistent, good with both feet, and like I said, he's still only 22. So then another one I brought in who was actually upsetty spaghetti at his current club and transfer listed is young Simeon Pafunda. We have a few players in certain positions. We'll get to that in a minute. But look, Pafunda, another one, 19 years old, Italian, great mentality, super consistent, little one-footed, but something we can work on. Already has a ton of potential. Did have to pay a wee bit of money for him, 10 million. Look, I think this is still a pretty good deal for a really, really good young Italian player. We all know how good Pafunda is. So then another one who was, once again, upsetty spaghetti at his current club and transfer listed is going to be Rome Jaden Arwaso Adoro. That's a long ass name, but I like it. Look, this is one, obviously Szczesny is what, 35 in and around there, so look, he's not going to be at our team forever. We'll probably get like what, maybe 2-3 seasons out of like a world-class keeper, and then he's probably going to retire. So I needed someone who's going to be around for the future. This kid is only 21. As you can see, his aerial distribution, shot stopping, and communication are all fantastic. He was transfer listed for 10.5 million, so this is a future keeper for whenever Szczesny goes. And if we loan him out for a couple of seasons, as you can see, he's currently loaned out to Real Betis. I made sure that he was their first choice keeper, otherwise I can pull him back from loan. That's one thing I have started doing, is putting in that I can cancel the transfer or the loan at any point, because we've had problems with keepers in the past. Keepers? The fuck is a keeper? So another one I brought in is Sebastiano Esposito. Currently, as you know, he's not my favorite Esposito brother, because we all know who my favorite one is. But look, this is one, once again, was unhappy at his club, was transfer listed for a total, I think it was like 1.7 million. He's Italian, 23. He's really good all round. Look, he's going to be one of those ones. He's happy to play as a fringe player, so he's going to be here for squad depth, and he's Italian, so it helps us with registration. But we didn't stop there. I went and got his brother. Look, you know this was going to happen at some point. This is one, obviously Dovrak is what, 28, I think going to be 29 this year. We're going to need a striker who's going to be around to replace him. And Esposito was absolutely perfect for this. The same sort of profile, 6'3", big, physical, enjoys the big games, super consistent, got a good mentality, really good in the air. He's only 20. I have put him on the loan list. Nobody's interested in him currently. There was teams interested, but it said like 4 teams, and then it said they don't think that he would have any interest. But like, this is the long-term replacement for Dubrovnik, and then like I said, Adoro is the long-term replacement for Szczesny. I'm just thinking for the future, we may as well get them in, get them now while they're cheap. We had to pay a total of 19 million, but if I wait any longer, you're gonna be somebody big's gonna snap him up, or he's going to be 30, 40, 50 million. I'd rather pay the 19 million right now, loan him out for a couple of seasons, or just keep him at the club, and then him and Dovrak can just interchange. But if I do that, I don't know how much football he's going to get, because let's be honest, Dovrak's fucking amazing. In the last person I brought in, this was probably one of the biggest transfer windows I've had in like my rebuilds. We brought in Parola, another one I was very, very interested in bringing in. Look, I always try and do this now when I go to a country. I try and keep as many players from that country in the save. I'm trying to buy as many different players as I can, but like there's only so many good young Italian players, and we needed another centre back. Obviously, with our centre back who going to Real Madrid, we needed somebody to replace him. So I brought in Parola. He cost us a total of 20 million, working its way up to 25, which I think is still a very, very good deal. Physical stats are insane. Little one-footed, but something we can work on. Good mentality, super consistent, big physical unit. Him and Nathan ZZD together will build a pretty good partnership. So another person in the team, you're probably asking, where is he going to play? Is going to be Baldanzi. Baldanzi is currently out on loan. I didn't loan him out specifically. I just put Baldanzi and Pafunda both on the loan list and just seen who got an offer first. Obviously, the wee kid from AC Milan, he's going to play on the left. Pafunda's going to play on the right, or Baldanzi, just whoever was there. But for regards to the wee kid, if we go out, like I said, Camarda, we'll find out in January. If he's no interest in signing for us January, April time, then we know we're just going to have. But then, no matter what happens, we're going to have Pafunda and Baldanzi as our two inside forwards if he doesn't want to sign. And I'm perfectly happy with that. The only thing is, I didn't want either Pafunda playing, Baldanzi not getting football, or Baldanzi playing and Pafunda not getting football. So I just loaned, like I said, just put both of them on the loan list. Whoever got offered for, then we loaned that person out for the season. I do have the option to bring him back, so if we get any injuries, or maybe Kamada doesn't want to play for us, I can pull Baldanzi back in January and then just send Kamada back to AC Milan, and then we're okay. But I would like to try and get this kid in the door. He has a ton of potential. I've never played with him in FM, but everybody that's played this database says he's absolutely fantastic, so I would like to try and get him in the door. I have kept over a total of about 61 million. Like I said, he has that release clause or optional fee of, what was it? Was it 25 or 22? 22.5 million. The only thing is, AC Milan may be a little upsetty spaghetti because they want him to play as an advanced forward, and he's currently playing as an inside forward, so we'll just kind of see what's going on there. We'll just reevaluate in January, but this is going to be the team going forward. Chesney, a massive upgrade. He's currently now the captain as well. Gutierrez, Zizi, Parola, Bove, Duya, Fabian, Kone, Camarda, Pafunda, and Dubrovrak. Like I said, I am going to try and get Esposito loaned out if I can. If I can't, him and Dubrovrak will just fight for positions, and we'll just reevaluate in January. But boys, that's everybody in the door and everybody out the door. Obviously, if there's anybody good for purchase signs, I'll bring his back in January. If we get a good youth intake, it was a good joke, wasn't it? I don't think we're ever going to get a good youth intake at this point. I've only ever had, actually, hold on, while we're here, because of me recording this, I put this up on the community page and asked everybody, how often do you get a good youth intake? And I'm interested to see what the voting is. So there's currently 43 votes, and 46% of people are saying fucking hardly ever. So I'm not alone on the terrible youth intakes, but if we do get a good one, I'll bring you back in April. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 2. So boys, we're at the end of season 2. Obviously, our youth intake was not good if we're here already. Look, I'm going to complain at the end of every season and just hope that the next season we get a good youth intake. Sometimes you just got to talk about it, all right? But look, I just want us to do the same thing that we did last year. Obviously, I don't expect us to win the league every year. Last year was a wee bit of an anomaly. This tactic is absolutely fantastic. You're gonna score a lot of goals, so I feel like if we just beef up our defense and just keep doing what we're doing, obviously we've got a lot of young players. It's gonna take a wee bit of time for them to get some experience, but I think we can do really well this season. So let's see how we did in the league. So we started things off at the start of the season with a 1-1 draw against AC Milan. We actually had a man sent off as well. Then had a fantastic 3-1 win away to Fiorentina. Fiorentina. Look, it was tongue twisting, but we won. And unfortunately got beat 3-2 by Inter, but still a good game, a close game. Then AC Milan slapped us around 4-0. We did bounce back against Napoli and beat them 3-0. But even with all those very, very good results, we ended up finishing third. Look, I'm not massively disappointed. My goal is to stay in the Champions League every year. And look, like I said, I don't expect us to win the league every year. Last year, we did very, very well. But like I said, losing people like Daball and stuff, I knew there was going to be a wee bit of a teething period. We've got some young players in. It's to be expected. I don't mind this at all. AC Milan, 97 points is absolutely wild. That's more than we got last year. So we played 38 games, 26 wins. We had 30 wins last year. So that's an extra 4 wins that we didn't get. 7 draws probably killed us a little bit. We didn't have as many draws. I think the Torino game, the Girona game, Brianza and Bologna, we should be winning those games like we should. 5 losses, Atalanta, AC Milan, those games, Torino, we should probably be winning. We had 68 goal difference and finished on 85 points. So that's 7 points less than we had last year. But look, like I said, these things are going to happen. Big Artem Dubrovrak, once again up there as the top goal scorer. We've nobody in the average ratings. We do have Pafunda and Gutierrez up there as top assists with 15 and 14. Gutierrez, top of the yellow cards. Like I said, if you're going to get yellow cards in my team, make sure at least you're top. And then clean sheets, Chesney is down there. Megan, as you can see, AC Milan must have got quite a lot of clean sheets. And then we've nobody in player of the matches. If you go up to the team stats, most points per game, we've dropped down to third. Like I said, we didn't have just as great a season that we had last year. AC Milan scored 104 goals. We scored 103. Inter scored 100. So 3 teams in this league scored over 100 goals. So like I said, last year we played well. The other teams around us didn't play great. This year they've kind of stepped up a little bit. And obviously bought a few players. AC Milan obviously have Diabola from us. They'll probably help them score a few goals, but it's crazy seeing 3 teams scoring over 100 goals. Most shots for is us. We're 78 ahead. Few shots against. We're in there. I'm pretty happy with that. Most clean sheets. We're down in third. Once again, very, very happy with that. Fewest conceded is Inter. We're a long way off Inter. They're on 24 conceded. We're on 35, but this is less than we had last year. So we conceded 35 goals and then scored, what was it, 102 or 103? I'm very, very happy with that. Like I said, my goal, stay in Champions League football, make sure we increase our reputation. Also, the money you get from playing the Champions League is wild. But that is the league over with. Third's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. But let's see how we got on the cup. We made it to the 3rd round last year. All we need to do is just get into the 4th round and we've done better. So we started things off in the 3rd round. Won 5-0, which means we move on to the next round. I think it's actually the quarterfinals. I don't think there is a 4th round. And I know there's no 4th round because we get beat by AC Milan in the quarterfinals. But look, we did better than we did last year. And that's all we can ask for. A little bit of improvement. Look, it is unfortunate we get beaten penalties. We get beat 4-3. Who missed for us? Oh, they have Fresneda. Right, Salcido, our young striker, and Bamba, our centre-back. I don't know why our centre-back's hitting penalties, but sure, okay, whatever. And is that Ivan Fresneda? It is. When did they buy him? For 28 million, honestly, that's a good deal. It's a really good deal. He's a really, really good fullback. But unfortunately, boys, that's us out of the cup. But like I said, because we did well last year, we now move into the Champions League this year. So we started things off in the league phase against Real Madrid in our first match in the Champions League. Thanks very much, Champions League draws. Appreciate that. They beat us 3-1. Unfortunately, we also got a man sent off in Kone, which didn't help our cause. We did bounce back against Bayer Leverkusen in the next match, beating them 2-1. Then went on to also beat Nice. A very, very good win over Spurs, beating them 3-1. We somehow also then managed to go to Anfield and beat Liverpool. Look, I'm not going to say nothing. I'll take the points. Then had a 2-each draw away to Napoli. Smashed Olympiacos 6-1. Then had a very hard fought match against Leon. This was our final game in the league phase, beating them 4-3, which meant we qualified 4th. Look, not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting this at all for us to qualify. I'd have been, you know, I'm always realistic. Look, if we're in the green or blue, I'm very, very happy. Obviously, getting into the green's fucking fantastic. It means you just miss the knockouts. It's 2 less games. You go straight to the round of 16. So for us to finish up here, I don't know what it is in this database. Tottenham are just unreal. The last like 3 or 4 saves I've done, Tottenham were always in this top 8 no matter what. I don't know. I know they do have a good team. I'd also like to notice the top 3 teams are also English teams, and then us, Real Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan, and Atletico. But look, if this means we've got 2 less games to play, I am so happy we finished up here, and especially in our first year in the Champions League, which means now we move on to the round of 16, where we faced off against a familiar foe in Atalanta. We beat them 3-1 in the first leg, then beat them 2-1 in the second leg, which means we went through 5-2 to go through to the quarterfinals, boys. We faced off against Arsenal at the Emirates. They slapped us 2-0 in the first leg. Then it was our turn to slap them at home. We beat them 4-0 for us to go through 4-2 to Champions League semi-final, boys. We faced off against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. They beat us 1-0. Boys, hold on to your cocks. We're not done yet. We slapped them 4-1 at our ground. I'm not gonna lie, loads of people always tell me, Mark, you should play more meta tactics and play like a 4-2-3-1 or something like that. Now I understand why a lot of people play it. For us to beat them 4-1 is absolutely wild, which means we go through to a Champions League final, where we faced off against a very, very good Liverpool side, and yeah, Crescente scored against us. 15 minutes later, they made a 2-0. Oh yeah, by the way, they have Florian Wirtz. Diaz, they made a 3. We did bounce back with a goal from Big Drovrak. But unfortunately, in the 89th minute, they got another goal to beat us 4-1 the night. They were just too strong for us. But hey, it doesn't matter if we could beat 4-1, we could beat 8-1. We made it to a Champions League final. Of course, when you get here, you want to win. But Liverpool's a hard team, and especially with them having Florian Wirtz as well, it just makes their team even stronger than they already are. Look, I'm not going to lie. I was actually a little flabbergasted because I seen that we were in a Champions League final as it was kind of rolling round, and I was like, there's no fucking way we've made it to a Champions League final. This tactic is absolutely insane. Like I said, it will all be in the pinned comments for you to go down and use. Now I understand why people, they use a lot of like 4-2-3-1s. I get it. So then with regards to player performances, moving over into Big Szczesny, I have given him another year extension on his contract. Like I said, I want to keep him around for as long as possible. And then obviously Adoro will just sort of be his successor at some point. Played 57 games, conceded 61, but 21 clean sheets. Young Nathan Zizi is starting to look very, very good. Played 30 games, 12 off the bench, 4 goals, 3 assists. Our 4 or 2, well, technically 4 centre backs kind of rotate quite a lot. The big man Pirlo played 50 games, 3 off the bench, 1 goal, 4 assists. Who wants him? Please don't be the Saudi League or Real Madrid. Newcastle. We could maybe get away with fighting off Newcastle. Then, of course, we do have Big Bamba. I am currently working on his heading because he's got 14 jump on reach. If we can get his heading up to like 14, he's pretty good. He's already very, very fast. If we can get his heading over to here, he may be pushing to be our starting centre back, but he is close to full potential, so I don't know how far we can get his heading up. But all in all, look, played 39 games, 12 off the bench, 1 goal, 6 assists. So in January, I did bring another centre back in because I wanted us to have at least like 4 good centre backs, and this guy was on the transfer list. He is very, very good. 24 years old. He's Italian, 6'3". We got him for a total of 7.7 million, which is an absolute steal. Like I said, we only brought him in January, so he started 6 games, 19 off the bench, 1 goal, 3 assists. Gutierrez, 46 games started, 4 goals, 16 assists, so 20 goal involvements. And Bovey, obviously I locked him in because he wasn't a natural at currently playing right back. So started 55 games, 7 goals, 14 assists, so 21 goal involvements. And then Big Lucas, I did once again lock him in, played 47 games, 5 goals, 6 assists, but he is playing as our defensive midfielder. And also look at all the green arrows, he's starting to look very, very good. And young Fabian played 46 games, 5 off the bench, 15 goals and 12 assists and an over 7 rating as well. He's also looking fantastic now. Big Kone only played 30 games. He did get a couple of injuries and then 6 goals and 4 assists. So young Pafunda starting to look absolutely fantastic. Played 45 games, 18 goals and 21 assists. So a pretty good season for him. And then of course young Camarda, as you can see, played 31 games, 17 off the bench, 12 goals, 6 assists. You may also notice up here that currently joining Roma at the end of the season. So I came back in January, he had 0 interest in signing for us. I came back for the youth intake, tried again, and he was interested in signing. So here we are, I have activated the 23 million. Look, 23 million I think is a pretty good deal. Look, he's a young, very, very exciting player. Already is 16 dribbling and 17 finishing with 15 first touch. Look, he's going to be a little future star for us. And of course we did have both of the Esposito brothers in. Sebastian only got 3 off the bench. He's probably more likely going to want to go out and loan. But look, I'm happy to have him around the team. And obviously, a few players are going to go out of contract. So it means we're going to have less people in the squad next year. So he'll probably get a wee bit more football next year. And look, he's happy to play as a fringe player. He's not upset he's spaghetti. So I'm just going to keep him as long as I can. And his other brother definitely got some football. Like I said, him and Dubrovrak, if I can keep the 2 of them just interchanging. 23 games started, 22 off the bench, 21 goals and 2 assists. But all in all, I'm very, very happy with the team. Also, I forgot to show you the people that are out on loan. So Adoro played 38 games, which is really, really good. Look, it doesn't matter how many goals he conceded. I just want him to get first team football. Conceded 53, 6 clean sheets. Look, he's playing for Real Betis. Look, sometimes it's good to play for a wee bit of a smaller team, get a wee bit more experience. But look, he's going to be very, very good. Of course, we also did have Baldanzi out on loan as well. Once again, looking very, very good. Did 41 games, 11 goals, 3 assists, and a lot of green and stuff going up. So it's good to see him getting a wee bit of development. But this team we've built is absolutely disgusting. And like I said, this tactic as well is unreal. So GYR, round of applause, sir. Really well played. Like I said, Szczesny and Nets, Gutierrez, Zizi, Parola, Bove, Fabian, Kone. Camarda is only just going to start getting better. Pafunda's only going to start getting better. The same of Douye still has to get better. Zizi still has to get better. We have a lot of young players in the team who still have a long way to go to improve. And like, if this is how our team's playing in the second season, I would like, of course, to get to another Champions League final and try and win the Champions League. But look, I'm very, very happy already. First season, won the league. Second season, made it to a Champions League final. I would say it's a pretty good success so far for a Roma team. But boys, that's enough messing about. Move over into season 3. Well, before we go, the board has given us 44 million for a transfer budget, even though I had about 60 million left over. Yeah, they swiped a little bit of it and give us less money, but 44 million still very, very good. Like I said, I don't have anybody I need to bring in. I think we're pretty good for the team. So boys, then moving over into season 3. Look, there's not too much I want to honestly do with the team. Look, we made it to the Champions League final last year and we finished second in the league. A little off, but like it is what it is. Or was it third? I think it was third, wasn't it? I don't know, second, third, as long as we're in Champions League football, it's all counts. I don't want to do too much of the team, but we did lose one player. This is one I wasn't too sure how I really felt about this one. Big Artem Dubrovnik went over to the Saudi League. They come in, offered, I said no, he got upset, and then I was just like, I'm actually okay with this. Yes, he's amazing, and I wanted them to stay at the club the entire save because he's unreal. But I have Esposito there, who's 9 years younger, do the same job, and yeah, we got some decent money for him. 70 million up front, and working its way up to 90. So we get 90 million for a guy that's about to turn 30 years old, and we have a guy at the club who's 9 years younger. I can do the same thing. So I'm going to take that as I think this is a good deal. If we're being realistic, 90 million for a 30-year-old, it's some good business. So we then also moved Mancini on to Juventus. He wanted to go get some first team football. I couldn't guarantee it. We get 25.5 million for him. Finally, after like fucking 3 seasons, I was actually able to get rid of Hermosi. He kept going, I want to leave. I got him a club. He rejected a contract. He was like, I want to leave. I get him another club. He rejects the contract. This went on for about a season and a half. Like it did. This was a fucking pain in the ass. Finally got rid of him to Aston Villa. 5 million up front, 6.7 million in total. Look, I don't care. I would have give them money just to fucking take him. We also got rid of our second choice keeper. Obviously, with us having Adoro here, we don't need him as our second choice. We're okay for keepers. So Galini obviously wanted to go and be a first choice keeper, so we've moved him on to that team up there for 3.4 million, working its way up to 4.4. Obviously, you already know about the signing of Camarda. This is a really, really good one. Like I said, when I came back in January, I was a little disappointed. I was kind of hoping we were able to sign him, and then he was like, I don't want to sign. And then, like I said, I reapproached it in April, and he was like, yeah, I want to sign. This is a really, really good one. Obviously, trying to bring in players that I've never played with is a huge thing as well, because like you want to keep things as fresh as possible. And this is a player that I've heard a bunch of people say in this database is very, very good. And like I said, yeah, we had to pay a wee bit of money for him, 22 million. I actually don't feel like 22 million's a lot of money nowadays. Like you look at the money Man United we spent 80 million on Anthony. So this guy for 20, all he has to do is just go past one person with a dribble, and he's already doing better than Anthony. But joking aside, Anthony's actually doing very, very well at Real Betis. I'm hoping United can get some money for him. He moves on to a new chapter of his career and plays well. Look, I don't like to see players do bad, apart from Jadon Sancho. Fuck that guy. He just seems like a bit of a bell end at this point. But yeah, we got Camarda in. I was also able to sign Yusuf Moukoko. This is on a free from last year from the Approach of Signs. I think this is a fantastic signing, especially on a free. Here's the thing. We're playing 2 inside forwards. We're going to need rotation. He can play with both feet. He's still only 21 years old. Like I said, on a free, I don't know why Borussia Dortmund would let him go. He's got a ton of potential. Good off the ball, good dribbling. He's fast. He's got good finishing, good first touch. And like I said, for free, it's the best price. And also, speaking of free, I also brought in Iliax Murray, but this is more just because we're playing sort of like 2 central midfielders and a defensive midfielder. I want a wee bit of sort of, we're lacking a wee bit of quality. When them 3 players aren't playing, the people I'm bringing in, they're kind of okay. So I wanted a wee bit more fucking grit in there. Iliax Murray has been one for a couple of seasons, has the potential, just never really sort of reached it. Obviously, and being at Barcelona, it was kind of hard to get into their midfield. Gavi, Pedri, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to get in front of them guys because they're unreal. I don't know if it's maybe like an attitude issue with him, because he has been around a few clubs, sort of been to Barcelona, went to Leipzig, then they loaned him to Valencia, then he was off to Vigo, then went back to Leipzig for a little bit. Like he's never really had like a stable home, we'll just call it. So I don't know if it's maybe like an attitude issue with him, or just maybe he's just not as good in real life as he is in FM. But anyway, we brought him in a free, 23 years old, can play with both feet, 6'1", got a good mentality. And once again, he's free. Then with Dubrovnik going, I went and got us another striker. I was once again trying to go for somebody I haven't used in this database. Somebody that can just play second fiddle to Esposito. I don't need to go and spend 30, 40, 50 million on a backup striker. So I brought this guy in, Francisco Souza Silva. Another one I have never played with, but I've heard is very, very good in this database. We got him from SLB, which is basically just Benfica's B team. We got him for a total of 9.5 million. Look, 5'11", got a good mentality. Look, he's not up to a quality standard yet, but like he's only 18 years old. He's already got 14 finishing, 14 first touch, 14 heading, 13 dribbling, 14 technique, mental stats. Got a little work rate and teamwork to work on, but like I said, he's going to be playing second fiddle. I don't need a second world-class striker. I'm trying to keep a wee bit of our cash and get rid of some of our debts. So then with everybody in the door and everybody out the door, this is what the team's going to look like. Obviously, a few positions may interchange. Chesney in nets, he is currently wanted by the Saudi League. So when this gets to January, I may cash in on him and just kind of maybe next, I don't know if I'll wait till next summer because his physical stats, as you can see, are starting to degrade very, very fast because he's 36. So I may cash in on him in January. Look, if we can get 5 to 6, 7 million for him for a player that we brought in for absolutely nothing, make a little bit of profit, then I bring Adoro back and make him first choice keeper. So this may change in January. I may, if I get the opportunity, just to cash in on him. Gutierrez, Nathan Zizi, of course, this will interchange between Bamba and our other centre back. Parola, Bove is doing very, very well. Doué, Fabian, and Kone. Pafunda, this of course is going to interchange him and Aldanzi, and then Kamada and Makoku will interchange, and then Esposito up top with the wee kid as a backup. Our squad looking very, very good. We have a lot of people, so we have a lot of squad depth because we're playing a lot of competitions. We're playing in the league, we're playing the Champions League, we're playing on the cup. We have also won ourselves a trophy, and that will be the Club World Cup. We started off with a good match against Al Nassr. We beat them 3-0. Then we drew 1 each with FLU. I think that's Fluminense, isn't it? FLU. We also had a man sent off. This is in the group stage. We drew 0-0 with Benfica. That then took us to the second round against PSG. We beat them 3-2. In the quarterfinals, we actually managed to beat Real Madrid 2-1. In the semis, then we beat Leipzig 2-0. And then this was probably my favourite result of them all, was beating Liverpool 3-0 in the final of the Club World Cup. Obviously, they beat us in the Champions League final, so it was nice to get a wee bit of fucking revenge, boys. Also, you get a ton of money for playing in this competition and winning it. I think in total, we ended up with like about 40, 50 million, which, no, I mean, gonna help the debts and loans. So a great way to start off the season, making money, winning a wee bit of a trophy. Obviously, it's not the Champions League, but look, winning a trophy is winning a trophy. But that is everybody in the door and everybody out the door. Obviously, I'll bring us back in January if there's anybody in approach assigns, and then bring us back for the youth intake. I will show you a couple of players as we go along. There's a few players in our youth system that are starting to develop a little bit. I don't know if any of them are gonna be amazing, but like I said, in April, if we get a good youth intake, I'll bring us back for that. But boys, let's go play season 3. So boys, we're at the end of season 3. I didn't bring his back in January. We did sign one person on an approach assign. I'm going to leave this till the start of the season. This could be a big one for us. Obviously, we're doing very, very well in the Champions League last year. We got to the final, which was amazing. We won the league 1 year, and then was it AC Milan? AC Milan won it last year. So obviously, I would like to try and win the league a couple more times. Look, I want to give Roma their spell of dominance, but like, we also have to remember we do have a lot of young players that are still trying to develop, and a lot of our young players this season developed pretty well. So we started things off in the Serie A with a fantastic 3-1 win over AC Milan. We then also beat Napoli 2-1. Had a very, very close match against Juventus. We ended up beating them 4-3. Had a fantastic 4-1 win over Inter Milan. Then right at the end of the season, we had a really, really close match against Udinese. We smashed them 9-0. Esposito got himself 4 goals, which meant, boys, we got the title back. This is exactly what I want. I want a wee bit of competition. Like, they win, we win, they win, we win. Like, you want that competition. If you're just winning every single year, personally for me, it's no, I wouldn't say it's no fun. I like the competition. I like that struggle where you have to like chase a team, and like if you lose a couple of games, then you could lose the league. I love that competition. But honestly, we played absolutely fantastic. Played 38 games, we had 31 wins. That's higher than we had the first season. We had only 30 wins, 5 draws. We only lost twice all season in 2 close games, a 2-1 defeat to Napoli and a 2-1 defeat to Lazio. 85 goal difference, and we finished on 98 points. That's one of my things. Like I said, I want to keep trying to win the league as much as possible. I want to try and break 100 points. I would love to try and break 100 points before we finish. I also just noticed this. AC Milan also have Samuel Meridian, 52 million. I think that's a really good deal. Like, he is an absolute unit. But like, I was wondering why AC Milan were so good next year. Yeah, that's why. But the big man Esposito had 22 goals in the league, a couple behind Martinez. Look, he's in between Martinez and Marcus Thuram. I'm pretty happy with that. Then we have Gutierrez in there for average ratings. Pafunda and Gutierrez both in there again for assists. Bove hasn't been in there. I don't know if he's not enjoying playing right back, so we'll kind of have to reevaluate that a little bit. I was looking to maybe buy like Michael Coyote, and then I realized that, yeah, he went to Bayern Munich for a total of 48.5 million. If I'd have seen this transfer, like whenever they offered, I'd 100% put in, because we still have like 106 million left, because I haven't spent anything really. But this is one I probably would have got as a replacement for Bove, but look, it is what it is. And we also have Big Esposito down there and for player of the matches. Chesney is in there for clean sheet. So we were talking about the whole Chesney thing. He is going to retire. So I did obviously try and offload him to the Saudi League. He was like, I'm going to retire, so it doesn't really matter. But look, all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. We got him in for 2 seasons on a free, which means he helped us win a couple of trophies. And then he moves on. We bring Adoro back from his loan, and he ends up being first keeper. So Chesney, thank you very much, bro. And then if you go up into the team overall stats, most points per game, if I can click on it, is us pretty close. Inters. Look, this is always going to be close. You have Napoli, you have Inter, you have AC Milan, Lazio, Atalanta. There's a bunch of really good teams. Juventus kind of are up and down. Some seasons they're good, some seasons they're not. Most goals, we scored 118 goals. Inter with 103. AC Milan pretty close up there with 95. It would have been nice to see 3 teams again break over 100 goals, but like we scored 118. Most shots for were 150 ahead at 753 shots. Fewest shots against. This is what I want to see. Us at the top of this. Most clean sheets is us with 18. The fewest conceded. We only conceded 33 goals and scored 118. So I would say, all in all, boys, in the league, that's a fucking fantastic season. And it's nice to once again get the league back. So boys, then moving ourselves over into the Italian Cup. We started off in the 3rd round. We smashed Parma 5-1. And AC Milan beat us 2-1 in the quarterfinals. The Italian Cup is going to be harder to win. I have got to a Champions League final before I've got the Italian Cup final. That just shows you, like, my luck in cups in Football Manager is absolutely wild. But look, it is what it is. We're up against a big team. It can go 50-50 anyway. But look, I would like to win the cup at some point before we finish this save. So let's see how we did in the Champions League. So we started things off with a fantastic defeat to Arsenal at the Emirates, 2-1, but all in all, a pretty close game. We went and smashed Feyenoord 5-1, had a very close match against Real Madrid. They beat us 3-2. The Young Boys match wasn't so close. We ended up smashing them 7-3. We then drew 0-0 with Aston Villa. We then drew 1-each with Ajax. We then somehow obliterated Newcastle 5-1. I'll take that. Then in our final league phase match, we beat Slavia Prague 2-0. So then if we go up to the league phase, so that meant in the league phase, we ended up finishing 9th. I'm very, very happy with this. Look, it doesn't matter if we finish in the green or finish in the blue, as long as we qualify, that's all that matters, which means that now takes us to the knockouts, where we faced off against our old nemesis Napoli. We ended up drawing with them 1-each. This is a very weird game. They get a man sent off, then they scored an OG for us to finish 1-each, so we were pretty lucky to come out of this with a point. But in the second leg, there was no luck involved, and we absolutely obliterated them 3-1, which now took us to the round of 16, where we faced off against Tottenham. We beat them 1-0 at home. In the second leg at Tottenham's ground, it was a very hard fought match. We ended up beating them 3-2 to go through 4-2 in aggregate, which takes us to the quarterfinals, where we faced off against Paris Saint-Germain. They beat us 1-0 at their ground. Then we absolutely obliterated them in the second leg, beating them 3-1 to go through 3-2 to the semi-finals, where we faced off against another old nemesis in Inter Milan. We ended up beating them 1-0 in the first leg. The second leg was absolutely insane, 5-4. We ended up going through on penalties. We only missed 1. They missed twice. Barella surprisingly missing. He doesn't miss too often. So that means, boys, 2 years in a row, another Champions League final, where we faced off against Man City. They started off the scoring first through big Kevin De Bruyne. We hit back just before halftime through big Esposito. Victor Gyökeres then made it 2-1 to Man City. They also have Porro and Gyökeres, so City's team's pretty wild. 15 minutes later, we equalised through big Esposito to make it 2-each to go to extra time, where of course Man City scored through big Erling Haaland to win the Champions League final. Not gonna lie, boys, I'm not gonna pretend it's all sunshine and rain. I'm actually really fucking upset. I know we're in a Champions League final, but 2 fucking years in a row we have lost. And know what the worst part of this is? I'm a Man United supporter, so we get beat by Liverpool in the first final, a Man City in the second final. If this is the only final we ever make it to the rest of this series, I'm gonna be so upset, bro. It's been a long time since I've made it to 2 Champions League finals in Football Manager, and not won fucking any of them. The boys, in with regard to the player performances, like I said, Big Chesney is gonna be retiring. I'm actually like, I'm not gonna lie, I walked away for about 10 minutes and made myself a cup of tea. I'm so upset. Look, if you get the final, you want to win it. If you get the one final, you're like, okay, I can go anyway, 50-50. But come on, 2 years in a row and we haven't won one yet. I want to win a Champions League final. Look, I would love this. I think we've built a very, very good team, but this tactic from GYR is absolutely disgusting. I highly, highly recommend it. It's very, very good. Big Chesney, unfortunately, like I said, going to be retiring. 59 appearances for the club, 62 goals conceded, but 23 clean sheets. Of course, big Nathan Zizi. Look, it's crazy how he looked in the first season. I highly recommend picking this kid up. He's absolutely unreal if you play him. Like, look how good he is now, and he's still only 21. 19 starts, 27 off the bench, 0 goals, 0 assists. But like, look how good he is. And we paid what, a total of 8 million for him. Obviously, we rotate our centre backs quite a lot. Like, we want to keep people as fresh as possible. But like, I highly recommend picking Zizi up. He's really good. Then the big man in beside him, Parola. He's also wanted by Real Madrid and Man City. So that's going to be awkward trying to hold on to him. So 45 appearances, 4 off the bench, 3 goals, 1 assist. Big Bamba also got a ton of games as well. 41 starts, 7 off the bench, 4 goals, 5 assists. He was a really good signing. The only thing I wish I could improve, because he's unlikely to improve, I would wish to work on his, if I could get his head up to like, if I could get his jump and reach and his heading up to 15, he would be unreal. But he's already really good. Like 14 jump and reach and 13 heading. He's a little short at 6 foot, but he's absolutely rapid. So like any sort of anything in behind over the top, like he can catch people. Like he's 17 acceleration and 16 pace, and we paid a total of what, like 9 million for him. If you go quick, you can get him a lot cheaper than that. I highly recommend, once again, another one if you're looking at cheap, good centre back. He is good. And then, of course, big Monterrey, the one that we bought last year, started 23 games, 23 off the bench, 3 goals, 3 assists. So it is good to see our 4 centre-backs. Obviously, I'm not locking any of the centre-backs in. The assistant manager's just deciding who he wants to play. It's good to see that all 4 of them are getting a lot of football, because then it keeps them all happy. But he started. But then our left back, big Gutierrez, 52 games started, 8 goals and 15 assists. But this is what I mean about Bove. Honestly, like I said, I know, look, he's not a right back. We just don't have really any other options. We do have the money, so I may invest in a new right back coming into this season. 54 games started, 4 goals, 9 assists. But look, him not getting a lot of goals or assists doesn't seem to be affecting the team. We just won the league, got to the Champions League final, and made it to the quarterfinals of the Cup. So like, we're doing pretty well. So I don't feel like him being at right back is hurt. It'd be different if it was hurting the team, but I don't think it's hurting the team. But I may look to kind of maybe, I don't know, get another really like explosive, like I said, Michael Coyote would have been fantastic, but he's already at Bayern. Bove's okay at right back. And like, if I go and get another right back, you're going to talk like 40, 50, 60 million we need to spend when we already have a really decent right back. I don't know, I'm on the fence. Bove's a position I'll probably look at in the summer. And of course, big Lucas played 56 games, 17 goals from defensive midfield and 9 assists. Who's he wanted to buy? Olympic Marseille, you're not getting him, don't be silly. And of course, big Fabian, 49 games played, 18 goals and 14 assists. Pretty good season for him. And he also looks unreal now. Do you know who he reminds me of? I think I've said this a couple of times. So Inter have Fratesi, who's this big unit of a guy, absolutely disgusting. Like, if you go in and compare him and Giovanni Fabian, it's pretty close. Like, if you're looking at a player like Fratesi, but a little cheaper, a little better in the air, and a wee bit more physical and better defending, go and pick Fabian up and you can get him dirt cheap. Then of course, Konai in beside him got himself 48 appearances, 20 goals and 10 assists, so 30 goal involvements in 48 games. Once again, another player I'm trying to keep on. The weird thing is, nobody's interested in him at all, which is absolutely fucking fantastic, but he's also unreal. I don't get it. Then of course, the young kid, Francisco Camardi, you probably noticed his face has changed a little bit. So I just use a face pack, and whoever built the face pack has put all the faces on the characters. He was a young sort of like black guy with like short black hair, and I was like, oh, that's what he must look like. I've never seen him in real life. And then Fabrizio Romano put a tweet out on Twitter saying that AC Milan have now loaned Camarda out to Lecce, and then showed a picture, and I was like, that doesn't look like him. So I've made him look like his actual person. I know nobody really cares. I don't care either. I'm just trying to keep all the faces as realistic as possible. But he, once again, a very good season. I'm really glad we picked him up and we were able to get him reasonably cheap. So 53 games started, 13 goals, 12 assists. Obviously, he's only just turned 19. So like, I expect him to start ramping this up a wee little bit. But he still has a long way to go. And he's already disgustingly good. The only things I'm working on currently with him is his acceleration and pace, because they were down at like, I think it was 11 and 13. They're now up to 13 and 15. So he's starting to go. I would like to get both of these up to like 15. We can get his acceleration up to 15 and his pace up to 15 or 16. I'll be very happy, because he's already got everything you need there sitting. The good dribble in the first touch, the finishing, the good technique, the determination. If we can get his pace up a little bit, just make him a little more explosive, we've got everything we need from an inside forward. Of course, then big Pafunda on the other side played 50 games, 15 goals and 24 assists. Don't worry, he's only unhappy because he wants a contract. I've already offered him a new deal. And then of course, Esposito up top. Once again, he's upset as well because he wants a new contract, is already offered. 46 games played, 32 goals and 9 assists and a 7.4 for the season. In young Yusuf Moukoko only started 4 games and 12 appearances, but he did end up getting a wee bit of an injury. As you can see, a major one here, he had a torn calf muscle. It was him out for like 3 to 4 months. He's still trying to recover from it now. So unfortunately, he got injured for the season. Probably would have started a few more games. And then Baldanzi started 17 games, 30 off the bench, 7 goals, 4 assists. But we do have a problem with Baldanzi. He wants a new contract. Yeah, he wants £185,000 a week. And I don't know if I offered. That's a lot of money for a player that's only starting 17 games. So I don't know what to do with Baldanzi. I'll reevaluate this obviously in the summer. But like for the meantime, I don't know. 180 grand a week's a lot of money for a player, like I said, that's only starting 17 games a season. Same with big Iliax Moriba. Unfortunately, didn't start any games, but he had 11 off the bench. And like I didn't have any of the 3 midfielders locked in. So the assistant manager just didn't decide to sign him. He wants to probably leave, even though he's set as a fringe player. Some of the things in Football Manager I don't understand. If you're set as a fringe player, like you understand you're not going to start a lot of games, but look, it is what it is. So obviously, keeper wise, the big man is going to be gone, and then Adoro is going to be in here next year, and that's pretty much what the team's going to look like. Bove, I'm going to reevaluate. I don't think we need to spend a ton of money. I think Bove's fine. Like I said, it's not holding the team back. We'll not have any issues. And like I said, I've still 67 million left over. I had 100 and something, but the board took a wee bit of that cash. I don't mind. We're not really spending it. But this is the team. I think we've built something absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I did sign one player on the approach to sign. I'll show you who it is in the summer. But boys, all in all, look, won the league this year. Quarterfinals of the Cup. Made it to another fucking Champions League final. I'm still upset about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know everybody's gonna be like, Mark, you made it to 2 finals in a row. I want to fucking win one of them. Let's move over into season 4. So then moving over into season 4, like I said, I had one player that I signed on an approach to sign in January. And I wanted to leave it till the summer to show you whenever he finally gets here. I think honestly, this could be the difference between us sort of getting the Champions League final, maybe winning and not winning. He's one of those players like he could change a game for you, and that's the type of player you need. But yeah, we signed Victor Osimhen. Look, this was one of those. Obviously, we have Esposito. You know my love for Esposito. He's still only 21 years old. He's still very, very young. Victor Osimhen is one of those players that comes along. If you get an opportunity to sign him, and especially on a free, you'd be absolutely insane not to. He's also valued at 93 to 102 million. So down the line in a couple of seasons, if we decide to sell him on, because you know what the Saudi league's like, big players, they like to say we made 90 to 100 million, that's another 90 to 100 million towards like future profit. But for the meantime, it's a player that we can look at and just like, look, aerially, speed, attacking. Yeah, vision and all isn't fantastic, but he's there to put the ball in the back, and then I don't need him to be like a very intricate passer. I just want him to smash the ball in the back of that. Obviously, him and Esposito will just interchange. Whenever he's tired, Esposito plays, and Esposito gets to learn from a world-class striker how to do things. Because I feel like I said, Esposito is still very, very young, and he did well every time we ever put Esposito in. He always scores. But like, Victor Osimhen's one of those players, like I said, when he comes along and you get a chance to sign him on a free, you fucking do it. So the young Italian striker that we had in on loan from Inter, I did confirm the sign of. He had 7 million optional fee in his contract. I activated. This is going to be one I'm probably going to drop into the under 21s or get on a loan for a season. But he's one, once again, the potential is there. Because look, he's only 18. He just turned 18 years old. He's not massively ready for the first team. He's still a good player, but like he's not massively ready for the first team. And I would like to get him on a loan or just basically keep him in the under 21s and get him a little bit of football. There's a few things we need to work on with him. He's very Esposito-esque. I'd say Esposito is a little quicker. He's getting 9 acceleration and 9 pace. It is something I am going to work on. I would like him to have a bit more pace about him. But he's already 6'4", 15 jumping reach, 16 heading, 16 finishing. Passing is 14, 17 for teamwork and work rate. And then, like I said, his mental stats are very, very good. And like I said, his strength is solid, his jumping reach is solid, his balance is solid, his agility is really, really good. He can play with both feet. He's got a good mentality. He's also Italian, which also helps. And for 7 million, it means down the line, whenever Osimhen either leaves or retires or whatever happens, we will have Esposito, and then this will be the backup for Esposito, and then down the line he'll take over, etc. It just means you'll have strikers around for the foreseeable future, which means moving over into this season. So we got excited with the whole Victor Osimhen thing coming in. I forgot to show you the people who actually left. So Nikola Zawalski wanted to go and get first team football. I completely understand that. He wasn't getting a lot, but Newcastle come in, give us 36 million upfront, 54 in total after installments. So once again, for a player that wasn't really overly playing, getting over 50 million is a really good deal. We also sold Monterrey over to Benfica. Don't worry, you'll understand why. You're probably thinking, Mark, why did you sell one of your good 4 centre backs? You'll see in a minute. So we sold him on for a total of 15 million, working its way up to 20. Look, we paid 7.7 and got rid of him for 20. So we like nearly tripled the money that we paid. So I think it's some pretty good business in total for Zawalski. And for him, that's another 74 million. Then we're also owed, what, like another 40 million for the Dubrovnik thing. So like we've made pretty good money over the last couple of seasons. But yeah, I sold this guy for a reason. It was to bring in this guy, Corrado Ranco. Like I said, I'm always trying to bring in as many good young Italian players. Look, this kid has the potential to be probably one of the best centre backs in the game. He's already valued at 83 to 123 million. He's got 20 determination, good with both feet, 6'2", an amazing mentality, super consistent. He's 18 years old. He's Italian, 17 tackling, 20 determination, 17 teamwork. His mental stats, his physical stats are absolutely insane for an 18-year-old. So, yeah, we had to pay a little bit of money because he had a release clause at Napoli, 65 million. But if you look at it this way, look, we sold them 2 players for a total of, what was it, like 75 million. So technically we made a profit of like 13 million in total. Like I said, including the money we get for Dubrovnik this season. So all in all, we're about 50 million in the plus. And like I said, I know 65 million is a lot of money, but like I said, I wouldn't have bought him outright unless I was selling players to cover that. And that's one thing I always do. I don't like spending a lot of money on players. I really, really don't, unless I have cover for that money-wise. And I think this is a good deal overall. Look, he's 18 years old. He's going to be around here for a long time, and he's absolutely disgusting. He can also play in defence and midfield, so if we need a little bit of cover, he can play in there too. Obviously, I would like him to stay at centre back because his first touch isn't great, his passing's not great, neither is his vision. He's more of like a no-nonsense centre back. But obviously, with a little bit of time, I would like to at least work on his first touch. I'm not too worried about him having 15, 16 fucking passing. It'd be nice, but like he's not that type of player. If I can get his first touch up at least, I think we'll be good. So boys, then moving over into season 4 is what the team is going to look like. Everybody out the door. We have a problem with the Doro. So Bayer Leverkusen come in and offered us like 15 million. I said no. He got upset. He wants to go to Bayer Leverkusen, so I said no. Told him he's not leaving. Look, he's the keeper that I have had for a couple of seasons. I want him to be our first choice keeper. Obviously, the more he plays, the less he's going to get upset. So obviously, with us getting them football this year, we'll see how we get on in January. If he's still upset at January or even next summer, obviously we're going to have to sell him and then bring in a new keeper. I would rather not. This is the guy who wanted to be our first choice keeper. But like I said, we'll just reevaluate this in January. But apart from that, everybody else is good. Gutierrez, obviously Zizi, Parola will all interchange between Bamba and Ronco. So these won't be, like our 4 centre backs always interchange a lot. Bove, I'm just going to keep. I don't feel like I said, he's hindering the team. We're playing very, very well. Duye, Fabian, Kone, Camarda, Pafunda, and Victor Osherman. Like I said, and these ones will all rotate. I also sorted out the Baldanzi situation. So he wanted like £180,000 a week. I said no. I left it from the end of last season till this summer. We give him a new contract, 100 grand a week. Still a decent amount of money, I feel, but it's 80 grand less than what he wanted, and I'm kind of happy with that. I think 100 grand for a player that's in a Champions League team and a title winning team, I think it's good money. 180 just felt like it was too much. So this is going to be the team for season 4, boys. Look, I just want us to do the same thing that we've been doing. Compete for the league. I swear to God, if we make it to another Champions League final this year and we don't win, I'll cut the save. I don't care. I'll do 4 seasons. I don't care. But joking aside, it would be nice to try and win one of these Champions League. And like I said, this tactic is absolutely disgusting. So if you want to go pick us up, the tactic will be in the pinned comments along with the updated database, the save file, and the corner routine that I use for all these saves. So if you want to go and pick everything up, it's all down there for free. You can go pick it up and choose it. But boys, let's jump into season 4. So boys, we're at the end of season 4. Obviously, if we're here already, the youth intake didn't go great. It was 2-star. I think I've given up on youth intakes at this point. But honestly, joking aside, I feel like it takes like 4 seasons before you start seeing some really, really good players start to come through in your youth intake and others. So apart from that, look, we'll find some good players. I've also brought in a few good players for next season, young players. I think they're absolutely fantastic. We'll show you that at the start of next season. But this season, once again, I just want to keep doing what we're doing. I don't think we need to change anything. Just need to go for it. Obviously, we'd like to do better in the cup. But first things first, see how we did in the league. We started things off with a fantastic win over Juventus, beating them 3-2. Then we slapped Atalanta about 4-0. Then Inter brought us back down to earth by beating us 2-1, showing that we can be beat every now and then. But then Juventus felt the end of our wrath. We ended up smashing them 7-1. We then also had a fantastic 3-0 win away to Napoli, which meant, boys, with all those results, 2 years in a row, we still can't break 100 points. Look, this league is very, very difficult. It is difficult. It kind of is like the Premiership. Breaking 100 points is hard, but we played 38 games, 30 wins a game, which is fantastic. 4 draws and only 4 defeats. Fiorentina, we should probably be beating Sassuolo. Fiorentina is still a hard game. They do have some good players. But Inter and, of course, AC Milan are going to be difficult. 84 goal difference. We had 90 points. Then AC Milan in behind us with 90. Inter in with 88. And then the closest team behind us was Sassuolo with 61. So we were at 27 points. Well, Inter's 27 points away from the closest team. Juventus are way down there on 58. Atalanta's down on 54. Napoli fell apart. They're on 50. Lazio's on 49. So all in all, it just seems to be like a 3-horse race right now. Obviously, us, AC Milan, and Inter Milan. Big Esposito up there for 25 goals. I don't know where Osimhen is. I know there was a wee bit of rotation between them two, which honestly is good to see. I like to see the players getting rotating. Then it stops a lot of injuries. Esposito was in there for average ratings. Gutierrez and Bafunda once again in there for assist. Bove is in there for yellow cards. He's number 1. And then Adoro, we did get the whole situation sorted out with Adoro. By the time it got to January, he wasn't upset he's spaghetti anymore. I've also given him a new contract, so he's happy to stay. He had 20 clean sheets. And then we have Esposito in for player of the matches. And if you go up to the team overall stats, most points per game, us, AC Milan, and Inter are all very close. Look at Sassuolo. The next team's absolutely miles off. Most goals. Surprisingly, we didn't score the most goals. AC Milan scored 117 goals. Obviously, they have Samuel Meridian, which is massively helping them. The dude's an absolute beast. We had 112, and Inter were so close to having 100 goals again. Like I said, we're the only ones kind of firing it. It is a 3-horse race right now. Most shots for is us by 200. Fewest shots against is us by what's that, 30. And then most clean sheets is us, 20. And then fewest conceded. We only conceded 28 goals, and then we scored 112. All in all, boys, that's a fucking fantastic season. I know I've said this at the end of every season, but this tactic from GYR is absolute chef's kiss. I'm going to be doing a Real Madrid challenge soon, and this will be the tactic I'm using. This is one I feel you can beat most teams with good players in this. So that then takes us to the Italian Cup, which, to be honest, we haven't been great. We've only ever got 2 games deep, one in the third round and then straight into the quarterfinals, and then we always get put out. But we started strong in the third round. We beat Genoa 6-1. Then that moved us on to the quarterfinals. We played that team I'm not even going to try and pronounce. We beat them 3-1, which took us to the semi-finals for the first time, where we faced off against Inter Milan. We beat them 5-2 in the first match. In the second match, they turned it around and beat us 3-1, but we went through to the final 6-5. In the final, we faced off against AC Milan. We actually started off the scoring through big Victor Osimhen. 3 minutes later, Osimhen got himself a second goal. But he wasn't done there. On the 28th minute, he got himself another one to get his hat-trick just before halftime. Just after halftime, they hit back and got one through Duran. They got another one on the 91st minute. Then again, they got another one from a corner in the 95th minute, which then took us to extra time, where we took over young Fabian into young Saud across the box. Mokoku got the goal for us. 8 minutes later, Mokoku got himself another one. And to wrap things off in the 115th minute, Big Nathan's easy for us to took the cup home. Finally, boys. Finally. 4 seasons. I'm not going to lie. The cups are harder. That has to be the hardest thing for me in Football Manager. It really, really is. So that is the league in the bag, the cup in the bag. The most frustrating thing about this match was, obviously, we were rolling. We were 3-0 up. Then they scored 92, 95, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And from 3 corners, which made it even worse. And then obviously when we get into extra time, we took over. But like, this is a little wild. Like, it's silly to concede really late goals like that. But on all, league won this year. Cup won this year. Let's see how we can do in the Champions League. For the first time in the Champions League, we actually started off in the league phase with a win, which was nice. We beat Atletico Madrid 4-0. We then beat Monaco 3-1. We then drew with Rapid 2 each, a game we should be winning. We then beat Celtic 2-1. It was then our turn to get beat 2-1 by Arsenal at the Emirates. In a very close game, we beat Man United 5-3 at Old Trafford. Then beat a team 7-0 that I have no idea who they are. Then in our final league phase match, we ended up beating PSV 3-0, which meant after the league phase, we ended up qualifying 4th, which is absolutely fantastic. I think that's the highest we've been so far, which means now we qualified straight away. We missed the knockouts and go straight to the round of 16. Missing those 2 games is very important, just to help with the overall team fitness. So in the round of 16, we faced off against Atletico Madrid. We beat them 3-2 in the first match. The second leg, we were absolutely dominant, beating them 3-0, which means we go through 6-2. Quarterfinals, we faced off against a team we know very, very well in AC Milan. We beat them 3-1 at the San Siro. In the second leg, it was a very, very close game. We beat them 4-3 to go through 7-4 in aggregate, which means we're into the semi-finals again, boys. We faced off against Man City. We beat them 2-0 at the Etihad. In the home game, we absolutely obliterated them 5-1. Like I said, this tactic has been unreal, and it's just absolutely perfect for the players that we have. We went through 7-1 in aggregate to get into our 3rd Champions League final. I swear to God, if we don't win this, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Where we faced off against the mighty Real Madrid, they actually started off the scoring through Vinicius Jr. We hit back straight away with a mistake from them for Victor Osimhen to score. Fabian then made it 2-1. Osimhen then made it 3. Fabian then added a 4th. Then to finish things off for us to win 5-1, young Casadilla scored an absolute screamer. Finally! Fucking finally! I'm not gonna lie, like, joking aside, winning the Champions League and smashing Real Madrid 5-1 in the final is absolutely insane. This is the best run I have had in a Champions League. If you have all watched my videos, guys, you know I'm as honest as possible. I was not expecting this. To reach 3 finals in the season, this is the best I've ever done the Champions League. Like, ever. And like I said, a huge part of this, I've said this like 3 or 4 times already, this tactic from GYR is absolutely insane. I highly recommend downloading the tactic. Even if you're not going to take the save on, download the tactic. It is absolutely disgusting. I will be using this in the Real Madrid rebuild. That's how good it is. But like, to win the Champions League finally, especially after getting beat by Liverpool, getting beat by Man City, I didn't want to lose a 3rd Champions League final. I actually seen this come up whenever obviously it was simulating, and then I seen we had reached the final. I was like, please, dear God. I actually went downstairs and just had my dinner. I didn't want to see what happened. I just made my dinner, came back up, and then just started recording this. But I'm so happy. Look, that means we've won the league. We finally won the Italian Cup. It took us the same amount of time to win the Italian Cup as for us to win a Champions League. But for us to be in the Champions League final 3 years in a row is absolutely wild. Like I said, I'm actually flabbergasted a little bit. This is the best I've ever done in a rebuild with regards to the Champions League. I don't think I've ever made it to 3 finals in 5 years. And like I said, we've still another year to go. Who we make it for? So then with regards to player performances, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually really pumped up after that because we finally fucking won the Champions League and the Cup. Young Adoro, like I said, we got the whole situation sorted out with him. He's not upset, he's spaghetti anymore. 60 games played, 56 conceded, but we had 26 clean sheets. I want this guy to be our main keeper. He's still only 23. He's still improving a little bit. Even if he just finishes here, he's already a fantastic keeper. Ethan Cece, another one, like I said, I highly recommend ban him. He starts off at the start of the game, you're like, I don't know how good he's going to be. Look how good he is now. There's going to be a lot of people after him in the summer. He started 39 games, 13 off the bench, which means this is good because a lot of our centre-backs then got squad rotation. He scored 1 goal, 1 assist. Our new young centre-back, Ronka, 33 games started, 11 off the bench, 2 goals, 6 assists. He also looks fantastic. This kid's got a long... He's still another... I don't know if he'll get the 5-star. I'm not too sure. It's kind of hard to tell. Even if he gets a 4-star, if he gets another star better than this, he's already... Like, this kid's on the way to be a world-class centre-back at some point. Then, of course, big Parola, 28 starts, 23 off the bench. Like I said, the centre-backs are getting a lot of rotation. 1 goal, 2 assists. He's also wanted by Man City and Liverpool. So I was lucky enough in the last summer, nobody offered for him. But I'm hoping that everybody just stays away. I like the 4 centre-backs we've got now. They're good rotation. They're all good players. They're happy to be rotated. And just the team's happy. So I don't want to upset that. So hopefully City or Real Madrid doesn't come in and fuck it up. Big Bamba probably actually started the most games out of anybody. 47 starts, 5 off the bench, 2 goals, 5 assists. He's also another one that's turned out absolutely fantastic. Who wants him? AC Milan? Not a chance. Like I said, I'm very happy with the centre backs we've got. Then we also have Gutierrez, 56 games started, 1 goal, 23 assists. Bovey, another one, like I said, I wanted to see start sort of like getting a wee bit more involved. 49 games started, 5 goals, 16 assists, a lot better than what he did last year. Big Lucas started 38 games, 13. I know he got a few niggles. When I come back in January, he took a wee bit of a knock. 7 goals, 3 assists. Fabian, another one that started an absolute ton of games, has been fit all season. 50 games started, 23 goals and 9 assists. Kone, another one that's been fit all season. 54 games started, 17 goals and 21 assists. So what's that, 38 goal involvements in 54 games from the centre of the park? A pretty good season for the big man. Of course, young Camarda, who had just turned 20, 53 games started. Another one had just been fit all season. 16 goals and 8 assists. Like I said, every season I just want to see him start to get a wee bit better and a wee bit better and a wee bit better. I'm not expecting absolute miracles. The kid's only 20 and just everybody progresses at different ages. But look, he's starting to look very, very good. Afunda, another one that had a really, really good season. 43 games started, 11 goals, 25 assists. Who wants him? Aston Villa, not a chance. Then, of course, Victor Osimhen, 37 games started, 16 off the bench, 40 goals and 7 assists. So 47 goal involvements in his first season. Like I said, him and Esposito seem to have rotated quite a lot. Because then if you go over and look at Esposito, he started 23 games, 29 off the bench, 39 goals and fucking 2 assists. If I can keep Osimhen and Esposito happy and keep these two as my main strikers, look, I don't know who's better. If you go in and go towards the comparisons between him and Victor Osimhen, Osimhen is a lot quicker, a wee bit better at attacking, but then I would say Esposito's probably a wee bit better all round. He's got better vision, he's better in the air, a bit better mentally. They're both physically absolute specimens, but like Esposito looks ridiculous, bro. This is probably the best I think I've seen Esposito look, and like, you know my love for Esposito. I've had him in a lot of saves. This is, I think, the best I've ever seen him look. Of course, then Baldanzi, another one, like I said, we got a contract sorted. Look, he wants to be a regular starter, but look, he doesn't seem that he can complain that he's not starting every game. Started 5, 15 off the bench, 2 goals, 4 assists. Young Mokogu, thankfully, didn't get another injury this year that kept him out for like 2 to 3 months. He had 14 starts, 18 off the bench, 7 goals and 5 assists. Like I said, he's happy to be a fringe player, and I'm happy to keep him around the club. Young Cassidy, or Cassidy, I don't know what way to pronounce his name, started 4 games, 11 off the bench, 2 goals and 2 assists, but he got a couple of important goals. Like I said, he got one of the goals against Real Madrid in the Champions League final. So boys, all in all, I'm very, very happy with the team. Obviously, with regards to the centre backs, we have 4 good centre backs that all rotate. I just had these 2 in here because they were the best performers for the season. But look, I think we've built an amazing team. But once again, I'm going to reiterate this. I'm sorry, it's really annoying, but this tactic is fucking unreal. So GYR, huge shout out to you. I don't think there's anywhere in the team we need to change. With regards to like the first team, we've got a good first team. We've got great squad depth. I think I'm just going to spend any money that we have, just like build it up like a really, really good youth system. We're not getting lucky with youth intakes, so I'm having to go out and find as young players. So all in all, this is the team. Like I said, we did the treble, won the league, won the cup, won the Champions League, boys. We've done everything already that I wanted to do with this Roma save. Obviously, I want to keep winning. So let's jump over into season 5. So boys, like we said, pushing into the 5th and final season, we're at that point now, there's not a lot about the team that I want to overly change. We had a few offers for Osimhen. I rejected him. He didn't say anything, so that's absolutely perfect. I think I'm just going to let, between Osimhen and sort of Esposito, I'm not going to lock anybody in. I'm just going to let them fight it out. Whoever's the better striker is the better striker, and we'll just play it from there. But like I said, spent a wee bit of the money. We got about 62 million in cash. Spent a wee bit of that there, just bringing some young players in. So obviously, whenever you take the save over, you're going to have a plethora of really, really good young players in the squad as well. I try to do that. I don't just try and build a team to win trophies. I try and build a team that when you take the save on, you have something to play with. Also, I've used a few of these saves whenever I've been streaming and stuff, and it's nice to be able to pick them up and have a bunch of really good wonder kids. Also, it means if you want to change the formation as well, you have a bunch of really good players there. So I did buy a few young players. First one is this guy, Finley Molina. I'm not gonna lie to you, it looks like he's staring into my soul a little bit. This is one obviously gonna be for squad depth and stuff, but for the meantime, I have loaned him out. As you can see, he's on loan to a Royal Sharara Sporting Club. No idea who they are, I'm not gonna lie to you. But look, this is one got a ton of potential. He's got good dribbling, good finishing, good first touch. Like I said, he's only 19 years old. He's an American. He's got a fantastic mentality, super consistent. We paid a total of 8 million. He had a buy clause. Also has good off the ball. He's got good determination. He's got good anticipation. His physical stats are both very, very good. Like I said, sometimes you're not always just buying players to be in the first. Obviously, well, you're buying players to be in the first team, but you're not buying players to be in the first 11. You do need squad players, and sometimes you have to spend a wee bit less money on some players that are happy to be squad players, because if people get injured, you're gonna need a wee bit of squad depth. But he was the first one in the door. And of course, you already know about Leandro Atrezio. I have sent him out on loan to Lorient for the season. As you can see, he's currently upsetting spaghetti. Apparently, he wants guaranteed first team football, but he's on loan. So I don't know. So just loaned him out for the season. Once again, this is another one. I want to get a wee bit of first team football. Then I also found this absolute unit. I've been spending a wee bit more time. Obviously, in this league, it's a little harder to bring in a lot of Argentinian and Brazilian players because you've got the non-EU rule. You can only have registered 3 non-EU players. So obviously, I've bought a bunch of young ones. This guy's absolutely fantastic. 6'2". Obviously a little one-footed, but it's something you can work on with individual training. He's got a great mentality. He's really, really consistent. He's only 18, 14 dribbling, 17 finishing, 17 first touch, 17 heading, 17 technique, flair 16, 15 determination, 13 decisions, 15 composure. Physical stats are really good. He's got 16 jump and reach and 17 heading at 6'2". He only had to pay a total of 16.7 million. He's a Brazilian. They all have buy clauses. But I think this is a really, really good deal for the future, because if you look over here, he's a fucking unit. If his physical stats come up a wee bit over the next couple of years, because that's the thing, obviously it's letting him down. I don't really need him to be quick. I just need him to be able to head the ball and smash the ball into the back of the net. But I would like if we can get his physical stats up to like the green over here, you've got a fucking terrifying striker for the future. Then I also bought this young guy. He's Brazilian as well. Like I said, I've been doing a lot more sort of like going and getting a lot of Brazilian and Argentinian players in Football Manager. Because like, here's an example, right? Say we have this guy, Rossi. If I was to buy him from the Premiership, you're talking probably 40 million. Like, let's be real. So you're talking like at least 35 to 40 million easy. So I got him from the Brazilian league for 14.2. which is an absolute steal, because like, he's very good with both feet. He's only 18 years old. He's got 16 passing, 16 technique, 14 dribbling, 14 first touch, 15 finishing, good aggression, composure's 14, determination's 15, 16 flair, vision is fantastic. Physical stats are very, very good. Really good natural fitness, good agility, decent pace, and like I said, he's got a fantastic mentality. 5 stars, probably be like a 3.5 to maybe a 4-star player, but he's already very, very good. Even if he stayed like this, or just a little bit better, a really fucking good squad player, or down the line if he progresses a wee bit more, you got yourself a new centre midfielder. Then I also found a really, really good young centre back, which is Valdemir. Not a very, I don't know if that's a really good Brazilian name or not. Alves, another one. Look, 6'2", can play with both feet. It's only 19. He's got a fantastic mentality. Little inconsistent, but this can go away with time. You can see there's a lot of physically. He's an absolute fucking unit. The only thing that kind of lets him down a little bit is his balance, because he's got 15 acceleration, 14 pace for a centre back or a D. I would probably play him as more than likely a centre back. I don't think he has the attributes. You'd probably need to, if he worked on his ball control and maybe got his dribbling up a little bit, you could probably play him as like a DM, like a ball winning midfielder or something. But I would probably play him at centre back. If I was to switch to 3 at the back, he would definitely be one in there. But like I said, physical stats are absolutely insane. 15 acceleration, 14 pace, 14 stamina, 18 natural fitness, 17 jump and reach at 6'2", can play with both feet, good teamwork, good work rate, tackling and technique are both fantastic. So like I said, you could probably play him as a DM if he just worked on his ball control, because he already has 13 passing. Vision is a little low, but like, you don't need him to be a fucking Andrea Pirlo. You just need him to be able to pass the ball to one of his teammates. And like I said, his mental stats are also very, very good. Got him for 15.2 million, which once again, like I said, if you bought him from the Premiership, you're talking a lot of money. Look at the wee Italian player that we bought. So if you go in and compare the two, obviously Alves is in the green and Ronco is in the blue. Obviously Ronco is a wee bit of a better, like, he's more of like a no-nonsense centre back. He's an all-round probably better defender, but then Alves would be a better ball-playing defender. But you think about it, there's a £50 million difference between this blue line and the green line. So like I said, it just shows you, obviously I wanted to get him in. I think Ronco is going to be one of those like generational centre backs. Like, he's fucking unreal. He's valued at 180, 151 million now. But like I said, for what, 55, nearly 55 million less, you get yourself a really, really good player from the Brazilian league who could end up being pretty good. But all those young players I named, I have loaned all them out for the season. So this is obviously what the team is going to look like for season 5. Adoro, Gutierrez and Bove. Like I said, the 2 centre backs in here obviously rotate. We have 4 really, really good centre backs. Then we have Dove, Fabian, Kone, Kabarda, Pafunda, and like I said, Osherman and Esposito are just going to fight for this position, and we'll kind of just see what happens. But all in all, boys, I think we've built a absolutely fantastic team. We have a bunch of really, really good players that are experienced and a bunch of really, really good young players that are coming through. I'm actually really, really excited to see how good this guy could get. So if you take the save on, let me know what these young players like. I think this dude could be an absolute fucking unit. Like I said, you get his physical stats up a little bit, throw him up top. He could be a really, really good target forward if you end up keeping this formation. I would highly recommend keeping this formation because it's fucking ridiculous. But that is the team, boys, for season 5. Obviously, like I said, I keep saying I'll bring his back in January for Approach to Science. Then I don't bring his back, and I just let you be surprised in the summer who would buy. So I may bring you back in April if we get a good youth intake. Please, dear God, it's the final season. Just give us one good player. Or you think I'll actually go and show you. Look at the dev center here, right? The under 18s. We've had a couple of decent players. Samuel Dos Santos probably the pick of the bunch, and like I don't think he's honestly that great. He's also got a terrible mentality, which isn't fantastic. Then we've got Filippo Andre, could have a wee bit of potential, probably a good squad player down the line. He's only a 1 star. If he gets to 3 and gets a wee bit more stats in this, like I said, really, really good squad player. He's Italian, can help with registration. Then Perotto, another one, relatively decent. Another one, like I said, he's only at a 1.5 stars. If he gets the 3 star, gets a little bit better in this. Once again, he's Italian, help with registration. But like we haven't really got anybody come through the youth system that's been amazing. I've got this guy, Hitamen. I actually bought him for 6.7 million. Just there were so many clubs. So PSG, Juventus, Real Madrid, and Arsenal were after him. And I was like, right, okay, for 6 million, we'll just bring him in, loan him out for a couple of seasons, see how he gets on. Look, if he doesn't progress to where I want him to progress to, you sell him on for a little bit of cash, or you've got yourself once again another squad player. But like I said, we've been very, very unlucky with like our youth intakes. We just haven't got anybody, which I was kind of hoping we would have got at least one decent player. But it is what it is. The youth intakes are a wee bit of luck. They really, really are. I've had 3-star youth recruitment, and I've got an absolute banger. Then I've had 5-star and not got anybody for 5 seasons. I honestly do feel like it is a wee bit of luck. I wish they would take a wee bit of the luck away. Because if you have, or here's the thing, make it harder to have 5-star recruitment. Like literally make it like you have to invest a lot of money. Or here's the thing as well, they could add new staff members, like say, I don't know, youth recruitment staff members. I don't know, you could name it something different. And like you have to have like 5-star youth recruitment staff to basically make your youth team good, instead of just like pumping a lot of money into it, going to the board here, can we increase the youth recruitment? Like you have to get better staff and like increase it yourself, upgrade the facilities and make it better that way, because then it would take away the luck, or you're sort of making it better yourself. I don't know, I just think it would be a wee bit of a better idea instead of just it's fucking complete RNG and you don't know if you're going to get anybody. But boys, that's enough complaining. Let's go play season 5. Boys, we're at the end of season 5. Look, going into this season, I honestly have no expectations. I just want us to keep doing what we're doing. We've won everything we need to win, and I just want the boys just to relax, play some football. We have had one player go out the door transfer wise, but that won't be till the following summer. We started things off in the league with a nice 6-2 win over Juventus. We then beat Napoli 3-1. We then beat Juventus 3-1 away. We then beat Inter 4-2. So boys, with all those fantastic results, once again, yeah boys, we won the league. That's 4 years out of 5, right? Look, joking aside, I'm always as realistic as possible. Look, I want to win the league every single year. I didn't honestly believe we would have won the league this many years. I thought we would have give a wee bit more competition from the other teams. Obviously, Inter and AC Milan last year were right up our ass, and then the year before, obviously, we didn't win it and stuff. So, like, we have had a wee competition. I just think between the tactic we're using and the team that we've built, I think we're just way too strong for this league. But I'm going to take it all as an amazing positive. We played 38 games, 32 wins. We only had 1 draw, 5 losses. I would say the Como, Sassuolo, and Bologna games, we should be doing a lot better. But obviously games against AC Milan and Inter and stuff, they're games that you expect a hard match that could go anyway. We have 95 goal difference. We finished on 97 points. I wanted to break 100. If we would have won one of those stupid games against Como, Sassuolo, or Bologna, we would have broke 100 points. But unfortunately, we didn't make it. Esposito is on 45 league goals for the season, so obviously Esposito played a wee bit more football than Osherman did, which is wild because but the thing is, it's nice to have 2 amazing strikers that are fighting for a position, because then it makes everybody better. His average rating for Esposito is a fucking 7.84 for the season. Pafunda at the top of the assists for 18. Camarda with 16, which is exactly what we want. Our left inside forward and our right inside forward both one more than likely scoring goals, but also pumping out a lot of assists. We have Bove and Bamba in there for yellow cards, number 1 and number 2. Clean sheets, Maduro 18 is top, and Esposito has 12 player of the matches. We go to the team overall stats. Most points per game is us by a decent amount. I would say we're pretty reasonably far ahead. I just could not spit that out there. But then if you go to the most goals, us and Inter did very, very well. As you can see, AC Milan fell off. I don't know if they maybe like lost a striker or lost some players or not. We scored 127 goals. Inter at 115. Most shots for was us by like 300. Fewest shots against was us once again. Most clean sheets, surprisingly not us. Sassuolo had the best defensive record with regards to clean sheets. We were obviously just one behind him. And then fewest conceded was us with 32. So we conceded 32 goals and scored 127. Boys, all in all, I would say it's pretty successful. With regards to the whole 5 seasons, we've done so fucking well. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to take Roma, a team that's never been dominant in the Serie A, and I would say we've made them pretty fucking dominant. Then that moves us over into the Italian Cup. We started things off in the 3rd round against Cagliari. We beat them 4-0. We then moved over into the quarterfinals where we played Napoli. We ended up beating them 3-0, which moved us on to the semis. We faced off against Inter Milan. We absolutely obliterated them 4-1 in the first leg. And then we got fucking smashed in the second leg. We lost it 6-0. 6-0, and then we ended up losing on aggregate 7-4. After going into the first leg with a 4-1 lead, how did we manage to get beat 6-0? Look, I don't mind getting beat like 2 or 3-0 no when it happens, but 6. We only conceded, 32 goals all season, and we conceded 6 in a cup match. This is unfortunate because I would have liked to get the another final, but look, it's not even the losing, it's how we lost after having a 4-1 aggregate lead. This one I'm kind of pissed off about. That then moved us over to the Champions League phase where we started things off against Leipzig. We smashed them 5-1. We then beat Ajax 2-1. We then drew with Mainz 1 each. This is a game we should be winning. We then beat Shakhtar 4-0. Drew 0-0 with Man City. We then drew 2 each with Benfica. We beat Wolfsburg 3-0. Then in our final league phase match we played Dynamo and we beat them 6-0, which meant in the league phase we ended up finishing 5th, which is absolutely fantastic. I say this every season. I don't care if we finish in the green or we finish in the blue as long as we qualify. Obviously finishing in the green means we don't have to go to the knockouts and it's 2 less games, which means less fatigue for the team. But although, look, finishing in the green, I think we've done very, very well in the Champions League. Obviously, we've got the 3 finals, won one of them, the other 2 we don't talk about, we'll just pretend they never happened. But look, we've been phenomenal in the Champions League, we really have. This has been my best save with regards to how we've played in the Champions League. I've never done this well in the Champions League in a save, and it's strangely with Roma. In the round of 16, we faced off against Atletico Madrid. We beat them 3-2 in the first leg in a pretty close game. So in the second leg, we ended up beating them 2-1. So pretty close all round. We ended up going through 5-3 in aggregate, which takes us to the quarterfinals, where we faced off against Bayern Munich. They actually beat us 1-0 in the first leg. Jamal Musiala with the only goal. The second leg wasn't to be. We just absolutely obliterated them 3-0. We always like to make things difficult for ourselves and then we just come back, which means now after beating them 3-1 in aggregate, that takes us on to the semi-finals. We faced off against a very good PSG side. They started off the scoring of trying to stop Kvaratskhelia. I just noticed they have Evan Ferguson. Then we got one back through Big Esposito. They hit back pretty much straight away. 3 minutes later, we got one back through young Camarda to make it 2 each on the night, which meant going into the second leg, everybody had something to fight for. We actually started off the scoring through young Baldanzi. They hit back 30 minutes later with a nice Kvaratskhelia assist. Got another one 3 minutes later. 10 minutes later, they made a 3-1. We weren't out of the match just yet, boys. From a corner in the 80th minute, young Pafunda got one back to make a 3-2. But unfortunately, that was the final score, and they ended up putting us out 5-4. Look, I can't even be mad. Look, we've done very, very well in the Champions League, and to go out against PSG in a very, very close game, they have bought some fantastic players. I was noticing their team as we were playing. They've bought young Antonio Silva, so beefing up their defence. They also have Vitor Roque, who in this database is fucking unreal. They also have Touche Ameni. On top of that, they also have Evan Ferguson, who is actually fucking ridiculous. He may be better than our strikers, but it is good to see the computer buying better players and making their team better. Look, it's no fun if you're just destroying people. And like I said, this is unfortunate, but we won the league, got the semi-finals of the Cup, got the semi-finals of the Champions League. All in all, look, if you're getting to the quarterfinals of the Champions League every year, you've basically made yourself a very, very good team. So then moving over into the player performances, young Adoro, 56 games played, 49 conceded, 26 clean sheets. Nathan Zizi played 50 games, 3 goals, 1 assist. He's progressed so well, but I think this is him pretty much at his max. Parola surprisingly only played 38 games. I don't know if this was down to like centre back rotation or maybe he got a few injuries. Started 38 games, 14 off the bench, 6 goals, 2 assists. And Big Bamba ended up playing 30 games, 26 off the bench, 1 goal, 7 assists. Then, of course, our young wonder kid, Ronco, he played 55 games, 6 goals, and 6 assists. But most of this was in defensive midfield. Don't worry, he's just upset he's spaghetti because he wants a new contract. But yeah, he ended up playing DM because we actually ended up losing Dueth in January to Aston Villa. Of course, no, I mean, it doesn't matter how well you're playing. Like, we've won the league loads, won the Champions League when the Premiership comes calling. So Aston Villa to come in for him, look, it was okay. We had a lot of people to cover that position. They gave us 30 million up front, 40 after that. Look, we paid 6 million for him a couple of seasons ago. This is a really, really good investment for us. And like I said, we have plenty of people to cover in defensive midfield. And of course, big Fabian in the middle of the park played 41 games, 8 off the bench, 16 goals and 12 assists. Wee bit of a quieter season for him, but all in all, look, they're playing from centre midfield. Then big Kone in beside him played 47 games, 8 off the bench, 14 goals and 7 assists. And Kabarda played 49 games, 15 goals, 23 assists. So all in all, a very, very good season for him. He's looking very, very good. He is close to his full potential, but if this is him at his max, yeah, I'm happy enough. Then, of course, his compatriot on the other side, young Simeon Bafunda, played 51 games, 11 goals, and 26 assists. So both of the inside forwards had a really good season. I got ahead of myself and completely forgot to show you the fullbacks. So Gutierrez played 50 games, 2 goals, and 16 assists. Ove on the other side started 49 games, no goals, but he had 19 assists. And then the big man up top, Esposito, had a really, really good season. 42 games started, 11 off the bench, 61 goals, 5 assists, and a 7.69 for the season. Then big Victor Osimhen only started 16 games, 12 off the bench, because obviously the assistant manager just clearly prefers playing Esposito, obviously scoring 61 goals. Clearly he was right, but he had 24 goals. But you've probably noticed he's got a future transfer fee agreed. Yeah, the Saudi League came in April and offered us a little bit of money. As you can see, the optional fee is 85 million plus. So this is 55 million up front, and then the rest in installments, working itself up to like 125 million. Look, this was an offer that came in, and I was just like, he's going to be 31 this year. We got him for free, and to sell him on for 120 plus million would be absolutely insane to say no. So I said yes and just put him on and just sold him. I just feel like this is too much of a good investment for the club. Got him for nothing, sold him for 120 million, I would say, and he also helped us win a Champions League last year, so I would say a pretty good investment. Then, of course, we also still have young Yusuf Moukoko. He started 3 games, 37 off the bench, 5 goals, 3 assists. But look, this was one we brought in. He was on a free. He was happy to play as a squad player, and he hasn't complained the whole time. He's happy to just be here, and we're happy to have him. The same thing with Baldanzi. Baldanzi started 35 games, 22 off the bench, 11 goals, 12 assists. Once again, another one. I know he's currently set as an important player, but like, he does play a decent amount of games, and he seems pretty happy. Of course, Iliax Mariba is currently upset, even though he's set as a fringe player, but I understand his frustration. He only started 1 game, and he only got 1 off the bench. Look, if he would have probably got more games off the bench, he probably would have not have been upset. This is one you could probably move on. Look, he's got 13.5 million to 14.5 million sell on. We got him for nothing. Even if you get 10 million for him, it's still 10 million pound in profit. Or if you take this on, of course, you're going to be playing the matches, so then you could probably bring him in, give him a few more games, that he'd probably not be as upset as spaghetti. But look, we have built a absolutely unreal team. Like, we really, really have. No matter who you play or what you do. So on top of that, we also have a lot of players obviously still out on loan. So our young centre back, the Croatian guy that we bought a couple seasons ago for a total of 2 million, I have loaned out for a few years. He didn't get as many games. I was surprised. He only got 4 games away to Leon, which is a little upsetting, but he still could improve slightly. He is very, very good already. And for all the price that we got him, another fantastic centre back option. Then, of course, we do have young Alves, who we loaned out to Celtic. Another one I will probably loan out for another season. Started 47 games, got 2 assists. Look, this is the main thing for him. Look, he only just turned 20. It's just getting them football is the most important thing. Then, of course, our young attacking midfielder, Rossi, who looks, I'm not going to lie, absolutely fucking fantastic. This will be one that'll probably more than likely either replace Fabian or replace Kone in the team if you want to come and do that, or just for good squad rotation. Look, I think he's one of those players. If he can still improve, I think he'll end up being better than Fabian or Kone. Probably more than likely Fabian. Kone's a wee bit more well-rounded. His loan, the Mets, did very, very well. Started 42 games, 16 goals, 3 assists. Not bad for his first season. And like I said, he only just turned 19. Then young Molina, which surprisingly, whenever the next gen list comes out for the youth intake, our youth intake was horrible, by the way. It was 2.5 stars. Everybody was shit. Really happy about that. But the next gen list, this guy was on the next gen list. He was number 2 as one of the most exciting players in there. Inter's Wonder Kid is in there. Yeah, I'll show you him. Yeah, this is Inter's Wonder Kid. Yeah, he was number 1 on the next gen list. I can kind of understand why he's number 1 on the next gen list. He is fucking unreal. Unreal. My scouts didn't even find this guy, and he wasn't on the next gen list the last 2 years. I always check the next gen list every year. If I would have seen this guy, I would have fucking put him on. So they got him for a total of 16 million from Schalke. What an investment. 16 million. He's currently worth 99 to 139 million. He said is world class. He is unreal, but I wish I would have noticed him first. Then of course we do have Atzori. Went on loan, started 5 games, 17 off the bench. Look, this is one, I think, obviously the star ratings are a little weird, because like you can buy a player, it says 4 to 5 stars, but then you need to give him a couple seasons in your squad, and then you figure out what their actual star ratings are. Look, I'm happy enough. He's Italian, he's 20, he's a pretty good player. I would keep him around for squad depth, or if you just want to sell him on, that's perfectly fine, but like he's still a decent player. I think this guy's going to be a lot better than him. He went out on loan, 32 games, 10 goals, 1 assist. I just think all round he's just a way better player. And like I said, if you can get his physicals up a little bit, the only thing that's letting his physicals down a little bit is his acceleration and balance. That's about it. The rest of this will come up with time. He's only just turned 19. I think this dude is going to be unreal. But obviously, if Esposito at the squad, yeah, he's not bad. But this guy will be a really good backup to him. Or if you want to play 2 strikers, there you go. In January, I did also confirm the signing of young Adam Wharton. He was on a free, and I was like, this is too good of an opportunity not to bring him into the squad. Look, bring him in. He's only 25 years old. He can play in 3 positions. We play 3 midfielders going through the park. He can play in all 3 of those positions. This is more just for squad depth. And look, he's not on crazy wages. He's also not valued a lot, but he's been out on loan a little bit. I don't think the computers played him a lot. He has the potential to be very, very good. Adam Wharton in this game, you just need to give him a wee bit of football. So I've brought him in on a free. Look, if you want to bring him in, loan him out. That's perfectly fine. I then did also confirm the signing of this young guy. It was on an approach to sign. I think we had to pay about like 1.8 million because he's from the Saudi League. But this is one a wee bit more squad depth than centre back, because if you want to either change the formation, maybe you want to go to 3 centre backs, or you want to keep his formation, no matter what happens, bring this guy in, loan him out for a few seasons, and you got him pretty much for nothing. Then I did also confirm the signing of this young guy. Once again, it was on an approach to sign. I think we had to pay like 450,000 in compensation, but has a decent amount of potential. And like I said, he's only 17 years old. He's 6'1". He plays in the centre of park. He can play defensive midfield. So you've got yourself pretty decent cover. Also, when you take the save on, you're going to have 164 million in the bank, obviously, with all the money from Victor Osimhen, and then you're going to get another like 60 million on top of that. So financially, the team's in a really, really good spot. You have a really, really good first team, a lot of really, really good young players, and a lot of players to rotate in and out. So if you take the save on, let me know how you get on. Obviously, the goal for this would be obviously to win the Champions League again and win the Cup again and just keep being as dominant as you can. Also, if you do take the save on, I'm always interested to know how people get on with the save. Do you keep this formation? What players you kept? What players you get rid of? Who's now the star player with regards to like Wonder Kids? Or maybe just because not everybody's always going to play the same. Everybody's going to play the save different. But I think we've done very, very well. But I think we've done Roma proud, right? We won the league 4 out of 5. We won the Cup one year. We made it to 3 Champions League finals. We won one of them. I would say all in all, this has been a pretty fucking successful save. But boys, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Only if you fucking want to on YouTube. Have yourselves a fantastic day.